These are 10 of the most heroic Simpsons moments. Lisa becomes student body president, but Skinner uses her to remove extracurricular activities from school. The President War Pearls opens with Martin being removed from his student body president position, and Lisa applies to be the new president. Nelson also signs himself up, and Lisa asks him why.
I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I do have all the answer keys to every test.
Well, you can't beat that. Lisa tries to win over the students with her plans for the school, but they don't care much for that. So, she sings a song.
I'll talk to teachers, I'll handle Skinner. Oh, Lisa, oh, Lisa, oh, Lisa.
But this makes Chalmers worried, because they can't control her and the students will do whatever she says.
A woman's weakness is her sense of vanity.
Vanity? You might have something there, isn't it?
Of course, because God forbid a woman isn't vain. Lisa comes to the teacher's lounge where they give her a makeover a president deserves.
To fight for kid power, I must be heard, not seen.
Tell that to your new hairstyle. Lisa tells Marge that her new outfit might be a bit over the top, but
there's no reason I can't look good and take back the playground from the gypsies.
Shouldn't one of the adults take care of that? The teachers don't listen to Lisa's proposals to better the school, so they make a schedule for her to keep her occupied.
Shouldn't I stay here and work on school policy?
Lisa, you were elected to be seen and enjoyed.
That doesn't sound right. Skinner gifts Lisa a key to the study hall, which means she can go into the school any time she likes. And you know Lisa, there's nothing she'd like more than that.
Just sign these authorization forms and you could be on your way.
Really, Lisa, without reading them? Marge tells Lisa that she's very proud of her and that she's gonna be a great president. But Bart doesn't agree.
Lise, Skinner is using you like a pawn on his unholy chess set.
But no, why would she listen to Bart? The person who knows Skinner better than his own mother. Skinner's plan was to remove gym, art, and music from the school. Milhouse asked who would authorize such a thing.
As ordered by Principal Skinner and approved by Student Body President Lisa Simpson.
Oh, she's going down.
What have I done?
What they wanted you to.
You gotta love Bart's determination to get back at Skinner. Everybody hates Lisa now. And for good reasons.
They made me pretty and popular just so they could exploit me and ruin my good name.
Well, quit moping and do something about it. Lisa confronted Skinner about what he did, and he just told her that the student government is meaningless. She asks him to make an announcement to the school.
I hereby resign as your president. And for my last act, I call a general student strike effective immediately.
Chalmers is gonna kill him. Skinner begs Lisa to call off the strike, but she tells him that
I will not call off this strike until you bring back music and art.
What about Jim?
Meh.
because who cares about being healthy and staying in shape? Marge sees Lisa and the other kids striking, and she tells her she didn't expect this from her. But Lisa tells her that the students elected her to make the school a better place. The police come to break up the strike, but Lisa tells them that
We're just like you policemen. Don't you ever feel like the mayor doesn't care about you?
that hit just the right spot.
Sit down, boys. We're joining this strike.
Chalmers thinks of a plan that would end the strike, surely.
Lisa Simpson, you've just been transferred to the Springfield Magnet School for the Gifted and Troublesome.
At least she'll get to go to a school she actually likes. Never mind the cost.
I'm not driving 45 minutes a day. You can't go to that school.
And her dreams are crushed. Lisa learned to stand up to bullies even though they were bigger than her, from her one and only Homer. Homer becomes a vigilante, known as the Pie Man. Simple Simpson opens on a carnival, where Homer saw that Rich Texan made Lisa cry.
No one does that to my daughter.
But then he remembered that if he commits one more felony assault, he'd be going to jail.
Oh, but I gotta do something. I'll need a disguise.
Really, Superman? Homer comes up to Rich Texan in his disguise.
Hold it right there! You've hurt your last feeling!
Homer smacks Rich Texan with a pie in his face, and he left everyone wondering who the Pie Man was. The next day, Homer saw Lisa drawing her new hero.
Gee, I thought I had a bigger package than that.
Homer, it's not the time nor the place. Homer noticed that Bart was feeling down, and he asked him about it. He said that comic book guys sold him some lousy comics so he could just get rid of them, which made Homer angry.
Somebody ought to take him down a peg. Or should I say down a pie?
He just wants everyone to know that he's the Pie Man. Homer goes to the comic store and he faces Comic Book Guy.
Comic book guy, don't do the crime if you can't do the key lime!
How many more of these pie references does he have? The news of Pie Man the Vigilante spread quickly, and everyone was wondering where will Pie Man strike next.
Perhaps at the Springfield Children's Hospital, which is tossing out all its sick youngsters.
In order to make way for a new cosmetic surgery clinic, that Mayor Quimby sure knows how to make people hate him. But what Homer didn't know is that the police set up a trap for him, and when he showed up, they started shooting at him.
No trap can hold Homer Simpson, but I'm not Homer Simpson. I'm the Pie Man. Homer Simpson away!
I think everybody's got it now. Lou shoots Homer and hits him in the arm.
Let's see. Cartilage, muscle, nerve, artery, bullet.
Gee, Homer, go to the doctor, man. Lisa sees him and tells him she knows he's Pie Man, so he takes her to his secret lair.
I want you to stop this, Dad, before you get killed.
All right, I'll stop.
That was surprisingly easy. The next day at work, Mr. Burns was really grilling Homer, but he controlled himself because of Lisa, until he saw Mr. Burns whipping Lenny and Carl. That's when he lost it.
I've run out of pie-related puns!
Thank God. Smithers followed Pie Man on the security tapes, and turns out he took a nap in Mr. Burns' office.
You'll rue the day you took that pie tin, poked holes for eyes, and attached a rubber band around the back.
Mr. Burns tells Homer that Pie Man will be working for him from now on, or he'll tell the cops everything.
Girl Scout cookies!
Oh, come on, she's a little girl!
Grow a spine on your own time.
That was uncalled for. Homer's next assignment was just really Mr. Burns coded.
The Dalai Lama?
That's right. All this talk of peace and love is really honking off my red Chinese masters.
Mr. Burns working with the commies? Didn't expect that. Homer shows up at Dalai Lama's speech and he goes to pie him, but then he sees Lisa and he doesn't do it.
There's only one way I can escape from this nightmare.
But the thing is, no one believed he was capable of it.
Dad, I think you created a hero that even you couldn't live up to.
But someone did live up to him. Lisa fights creationism being taught at schools. The monkey suit opens with Ned Flanders finding out that there's an exhibit on evolution at the museum, and he doesn't like that very much. So he goes to talk to Reverend Lovejoy about it. Ned tells him that they're teaching people that they came from apes, even though there's nothing about it in the Bible.
Ned, you've got to take this thing with a grain of salt.
Whoever said they don't like Reverend Lovejoy, I want to hear you now. But Helen thinks this controversy could put more people in church.
Well, our membership has been dwindling since those Episcopalians put in those vibrating pews.
Reverend Lovejoy and Ned go to Principal Skinner and demand that he starts teaching creationism.
And what if I say no? I believe you leased your Camry from Christian Brothers Auto.
Well, we all know how much Skinner loves his cars. Lisa objects to this, saying it's not science. But Skinner says it is now.
Are oceans God's tears?
They sure are. A+.
Lisa says that evolution is widely acknowledged as a scientific fact and creationism is not. Lisa comes home irritated and she tells Marge about what happened.
Maybe they could learn from each other.
But they're incompatible!
Okay, Lisa, calm your horses. Lisa raises the question of evolution versus creationism at a town meeting, and she says that they cannot coexist.
It is time to go back to teaching one single truth.
Homer's son, sisters, right!
Does the word daughter not exist in your dictionary, Barney? The next day at school, Mrs. Hoover tells her class that the town has made a decision.
From now on, we're only teaching one theory, creationism.
How do they agree on that? Lisa leaves a note on Martin's locker asking him and other nerds to join her so she could read to them From the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin. But then...
Lisa Simpson, you're under arrest for the teaching of non-biblical science.
Isn't there a robber they should stop or something? Lisa goes to trial and the news are all over it.
So does this theory of evolution necessarily mean that there is no God?
No, of course not.
Okay, good start.
It just says that God is an impotent nothing from nowhere.
How does that help Lisa's case?
So, as a scientist, what is your take on this devolution?
If man evolved from monkeys, there'd be evidence.
And there's not. Afterwards, Lisa told Marge that she should have just listened to her and went with the flow. Marge didn't like seeing Lisa so beaten down, so she took the Darwin book and decided to read it. After she finished it, she realized that he had some really persuasive arguments, and that she knows how to help Lisa with her trial.
I've got the answer to your problems right here. Look, homie, I brought you a beer.
Where there's Homer and beer, it can't be good. Homer started struggling to open the beer, and as the lawyer was trying to prove that there's no connection between a man and an ape, Homer was proving them wrong.
Will you shut your yap, you big monkey-faced gorilla?
Well, I guess there is a connection.
Can you say that this man could not possibly be related to that ape?
Nothing like Homer trying to open a beer to prove men came from apes. Lisa told Ned that she respects his beliefs, and she can see how deeply he feels about them.
I just don't think religion should be taught in our schools any more than you'd want scientists teaching at the church.
That's a good point.
Well, I wish this world would evolve a few more kids like you, Lisa.
Well, wouldn't that be great? Sometimes fear stops us right in our tracks. And that's what happened to Homer when he got attacked by a bear. But he swore he would get back at it. The Fat and the Furriest opens with Homer going to a dump to dump away his big ball of candy, but he gets attacked by a bear.
I'm gonna be killed by a bear! Well, I guess I don't have to worry anymore about the dangers of smoking.
Hey, why not? He's already dying. Homer comes home and Marge sees him all roughed up, so she asks him what happened. But he tells her he's too upset to talk about it.
But seeing you like this is more than I can bear.
Bear! Ah!
That says it all. That night, the family was watching the news and they saw Homer getting attacked by a bear. But that wasn't the worst part.
We'd rather have a live sissy mincing around the house than some dead hero any day.
I would have chosen different wording, but I guess it's the thought that counts. At work, Homer's co-workers made fun of him too, and he couldn't escape bears anywhere.
Oh God, they're in our food! Teddy Grahams, gummy bears!
Maybe he should see someone. Grandpa came over and told Homer that he should find that bear and stand up to him.
Can I fight human style? By slowly poisoning his environment until he loses his fur and becomes sterile?
I mean, that is always an option. Homer meets with one of the Rangers and he tells him that he needs to be protected if he wants to face that bear again. So, Homer decides to build himself a protection suit.
Homer, there's no rear on that thing.
I know. If I get really scared, I don't want to ruin the suit.
Good thinking. Marge forbids Homer from fighting the bear, but Homer says that he's setting a bad example by not taking revenge. Lisa tells Homer that you can't take revenge on an animal.
That's the whole point of Moby Dick.
Lisa, the point of Moby Dick is be yourself.
Are they talking about the same book? The next morning, Homer sneaks out with Bart to go and take his revenge on the bear. He, Lenny, Carl, and Bart camp out in the woods. But since the bear monitor didn't go off for some time, Homer took off his suit to refresh himself.
Hey, the batteries are missing from this thing.
Yeah, we borrowed them for the radio.
Oh, Lord. The bear attacks Homer, but nobody could hear him scream. Meanwhile, Marge and Lisa saw that the boys were missing, so they called the ranger to help them find Homer and Bart.
I guess this is it. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die a man.
But then Homer sees a tag on the bear's ear and he takes it off.
Is this thing hurting you?
Well, what do you think? Homer realizes the bear never wanted to hurt him. The tag was just making him irritated. Homer realizes that the hunter is following them, so...
He must be following this thing. Well, I'm gonna make sure it never harms another living creature.
Let's just say that it was collateral damage. Homer hears some camper's radio say that there's a bounty on the bear, so he decides to take him someplace safe. Homer and the bear reach a safe zone, but something doesn't feel right.
Wait, stop! I know bullets can be scary sometimes, but I have an idea.
Homer dresses the bear in his protective suit.
It's Homer, don't shoot!
Go!
The bear manages to get to the other side, and now he's protected from man.
Well, I'm proud of you, homie. You set out to fight an animal, and you ended up saving its life.
Kent Brockman gets fired, so Lisa tries to help him make a name for himself outside of Channel 6. You Can't Always Say What You Want opens with Homer going to the dentist, and immediately afterwards going to an ice cream shop, where he...
You just purchased the 1 millionth ice cream cone sold by this store.
And apparently this was such big news that he ended up on Kent Brockman's show. But of course, that has nothing to do with the fact that...
This station and the ice cream company are owned by the same corporation, but I digress.
Okay. Kent asked Homer how he felt when he bought the fateful treat, and Homer said that...
The happiness swept me away!
Oh, that hurt like a...
It's moments like this I'd wish to know what he said. Marge and the kids were watching the show from home.
What'd I miss?
Kent Brockman Brockman said a horrible swear.
Well, we can't judge on how horrible it is until we hear it. Later on the show, Kent apologized for his swearing.
I said a word so vile it should only be uttered by Satan himself while sitting on the toilet.
That's an interesting image. Kent was worried that people would judge him harshly for what he said, but turns out no one's watching the news anymore. Lisa said she isn't so sure Brockman is out of the woods yet, because there are a lot of religious watchdog groups who are keeping the world safe from the horror of free speech.
You mean there are losers who spend all day watching TV looking for stuff to complain about?
They are surprised and ask who would be lame enough to do that. I think you know a guy. Flanders went to watch the news and record if anything sinful happened.
God's least favorite word uttered on the public airwaves.
Did he cuss out God in any way? I really need to know. Flanders went to write an email to his online Christian soldiers about what happened, and Rod and Todd asked him what he was doing.
Imploring people I never met to pressure a government with better things to do to punish a man.
Rod and Todd tell Flanders he needs a new mommy. Even his sons think he's an extremist. Channel 6 demotes Kent to a weekend weatherman. But 10 minutes didn't pass from that moment and he was fired. Later, Homer was trying to watch TV when...
Marge, the couch is lumpy!
That's because you're sitting on me, you lummox!
He's everywhere. Marge said she invited him to stay with them for a few days.
I'm sorry, Marge, but I won't live under the same roof as a member of the liberal media.
I mean, fair point, it is his house. Marge apologizes to Kent and tells him that Homer has been watching a lot of Fox News lately.
Did you know that every day Mexican gays sneak into this country and unplug our brain-dead ladies?
Okay, that's too far. Later, Homer was watching Fox, and the latest liberal outrage was liberals want to give NASA the right to
abort space missions whenever they feel like it.
Liberals, I hate them so much.
Your favorite conservative, Homer Simpson. Lisa said that she's always been wondering how can Fox be so conservative when their network keeps airing raunchy shows.
Fox deliberately runs shows that will earn them huge fines.
Kent explains that these fines are then funneled through the FCC straight to the Republican Party. Kent says that everyone in the media knows it, but no one has the guts to say it.
Not true. You've got the guts and I've got a webcam. This time you can tell the truth.
And swear like a lumberjack. Kent and Lisa made a show where Kent exposed that the press and the government are working together, and that journalists are acting like babies.
Demand more of your government. Demand more of your press.
Wow, he's good when he doesn't report on a bunch of stupid news. But the big shot people of Springfield don't need Kent out there uncovering all their secrets, so they make him an offer. His old job back with a 50% pay increase. But then he looks at Lisa and her big eyes.
Lisa, close your eyes for 2 seconds.
1, 2.
I held out as long as I could.
Damn it, Kent, crush a little girl's dreams, would you? Lisa told Homer that there's just no place for truth in today's media.
Do you want to hear something really bad Kent told me about the Fox network?
Oh, finally, we get a scoop. Lisa notices that Homer's hands are shaking.
For years now, Fox has been
programming shows that the whole family can enjoy.
Oh, come on. Homer says he won't be silenced.
The truth is...
Wow. They really want to keep that secret.
Okay, what I was going to say was... Shh.
At least he tried. But Lisa never gave up on free media speech. That's why she started her own newspaper. Mr. Burns tries to censor every news outlet in town, but Lisa objects to him. Broadcast News opens with people thinking Mr. Burns died after a pile of rocks fell on him, but turns out his slim physique saved him.
Perhaps it's best you were snatched away before time could diminish your beauty.
Stop your wailing.
Mr. Burns tells Smithers to turn on the TV to see how the common folk are grieving their fallen god. If you didn't catch that, he calls himself God.
But one old man we certainly don't miss is the late C. Montgomery Burns.
That wasn't what he was hoping for.
Thank you, Gazer Rock, for doing what none of us had the courage to do. Smush Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns can't believe that the town cared more for a soulless piece of rock than for him.
I know how to change the way the public thinks of me. I'll buy every media outlet in town.
Censorship. Yeah, that's the way to win people over. Meanwhile, Lisa has made her own newspaper so she could publish a poem she wrote for Geezer Rock, but didn't get the chance to read. The newspaper did really well, and people liked Lisa's writing.
Can't wait for tomorrow's.
Tomorrow's? I hadn't thought about publishing more.
Well, think about it while you can, because Mr. Burns is on the go.
I've done it, Smithers. I've bought every media outlet in town.
And let the censorship begin. Mr. Burns even changed up the Itchy and Scratchy cartoons.
Nuclear power is your friend, and so is Monty Burns.
Don't end up like me. Vote Republican.
Is that legal? Lisa can't stand to see Mr. Burns own everything, so she decides to speak out before it's too late.
Montgomery Burns is a monopolistic, self-aggrandizing, stinky pants.
Stinky pants? How about criminal, maybe? Mr. Burns demanded to talk to Lisa, and she told him she is not for sale. He tried giving her a pony, but she still refused. Then he tried with 3 ponies, but Lisa's morals were too strong for that. Mr. Burns tells Lisa that he's gonna shred her like a Christmas card.
Now get out!
I can't. My mom's not picking me up for an hour.
Well, that's awkward. Smithers suggests a non-violent way to silence Lisa.
What the? Dad, Mr. Burns cut our power. Now I can't print my paper.
That Smithers sure has a few cards up his sleeve. But Skinner told Lisa he could help her. He showed her a Mimeo machine, a hand-operated duplicating device. No electricity needed. Lisa continues printing her paper, and Mr. Burns starts losing his mind.
Good God, I'm at war with a little girl, and I'm losing.
Well, if it were any other child, you wouldn't be losing, if that makes you feel any better. Mr. Burns calls Homer for a talk, and he starts asking him questions about Lisa. Homer sees through him and confronts him about it.
Well done. Have some congratulatory drugs.
Well, if that's your custom.
Oh, Homer. Homer starts spilling facts about Lisa to Mr. Burns.
Liberal wacko, eh? Any young booze?
Well, that loser Milhouse has always had a thing for her.
Mr. Burns posts a paper about Lisa and her beliefs, and to top it off, he...
Well, at least there's nothing else Burns can do to me.
Homer couldn't take seeing Lisa so upset, so he decided to pull an all-nighter.
Put on a pot of coffee, drink it, and start making burgers.
Some anniversary this is.
Homer wrote his newspaper, the Homer Times, and he said that...
All my daughter ever did was tell people to think for themselves.
Honestly, facts. Lisa told Homer she really appreciates what he did, but one paper can't make a difference, unfortunately. But then she saw Barney with his newspaper, and Lenny with his.
Instead of one big shot controlling all the media, now there's 1,000 freaks Xeroxing their worthless opinion.
But of course, Homer is Lisa's hero. He is her dad after all, but what happens when he becomes a town's hero? Homer becomes a firefighter and a thief, all at once. Crook and Ladder opens with Homer not being able to sleep, so he buys the new medication called Napion. After only one night of taking it, Homer felt much better. Marge noticed that someone ate all the food from the fridge last night.
Maybe it was the same person who tied each of the dog's feet to a toy car.
Well, that's just mean.
And someone used our videotapes as dominoes.
And that looks like Homer to me. Lisa tells Homer that she read that people do strange things in their sleep when they take Napion, but Homer says he has no intention to stop taking it because he's finally getting some sleep. That night, Bart heard that Homer woke up, so he decided to take advantage of him.
Why am I sleeping when right next door is every boy's dream? A fat, suggestible zombie dad.
Well, that's not very nice. Bart makes Homer drive him and Milhouse around town.
And that's only one of the cool things we're gonna do with him.
Zombie montage.
That's quite a night you had. Finally, Homer wakes up while driving, so he swerves and hits the fire department, which results in all firefighters being injured. Can't ask the man in a burning building how it felt knowing no one is coming to save him.
Well, not as bad as knowing that somewhere gays are marrying each other.
Yeah, that's the real crisis, not your burning building.
Once again, crisis has brought out the best in us.
Homer decides to volunteer as a fireman. Moe, Apu, and Skinner also follow his example, so they become the Springfield firemen.
Ooh, I can't wait for my first fire.
You can't wait for someone's house to be on fire. But thankfully for Homer, his wish was granted, and he got called on duty. Homer and his crew put out a fire at Luigi's, and he gave them a little treat. By little, I mean all-you-can-eat pasta.
Hey, this is sweet, huh? Almost makes up for not getting paid.
We don't get what?
Well, what did you think volunteer meant? People keep treating them for their dangerous fireman work, and the men really enjoy this. One night, they were putting out a fire at Mr. Burns' house, and he didn't feel the need to give them any compensation.
Thank you, and goodbye.
What?
Huh?
Ta-ta, toodaloo.
Oh, that has to sting. The guys can't believe how stingy Mr. Burns is, so they decide to follow a little flame inside his house so they could rob him.
Oh,
Are you suggesting that we should steal?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It ain't stealing if you take it fast.
No, it's just fast stealing. But once they got a taste for stealing, they just couldn't stop. Skinner asked them if maybe they've crossed a line.
Just what are you getting at?
Yeah, hall pass.
How old are we here? Are we in school? When the next fire occurred, Homer was relieved because Marge's birthday was coming up and he needed to get something for her.
I think what she would treasure most is a gift bought through honest effort because the integrity, trust.
Just give up, Seymour. Meanwhile, Marge was with the kids and she saw Homer in the fire truck, so they decided to go see Daddy at work. Bad idea.
Mom, is Dad stealing from people he's supposed to help?
King of thieves, we worship you.
What does that look like to you? Marge doubled down on Homer and his awful behavior, telling him he should have seen the looks on Bart and Lisa's faces.
Kids, get in here and show your father the faces.
Like, that's gonna make him fold.
Make them stop!
You make them stop by doing the right thing.
Don't do the crime if you can't serve the time. The time being Bart and Lisa's sad looks. Homer talks to Moe on one of their next duties.
Oh, I think we may have perverted.
Go on.
Our duties as firemen.
Was he hoping for something else here? The building starts burning down and Moe sees a beautiful clock.
Oh, I can save you, but you have to let go of the clock.
But it's been in my family for over 40 seconds.
Jesus Christ, materialist much? Homer saves Moe and Apu and they get out safely.
So Daddy saved Apu and Moe. And believe me, we learned our lesson.
They learned a lesson, but Marge didn't. Marge becomes a part of a secret society of women, getting ready to rob Mr. Burns. The last of the Red Hat Mamas starts with Homer ruining Marge's chance of having friends, and she's very angry at him.
You have lots of friends. There's, Lisa and the stove.
He just doesn't know how to talk to women. Homer said that he's gonna find Marge a friend, someone cute, athletic, and with a nice laugh. He sees a lady in the store and thinks she'd be a good friend for Marge because she looks defeated too.
Why does every woman I try to talk to run into cans?
Maybe because you act like a predator? Marge went out for a walk and she thought to herself that maybe she just isn't meant to have friends. But then a group of ladies came up to her.
How about this wind, huh? I don't know how you keep your hair so perfect.
Johnson's Water Seal.
So that's the big secret. The woman introduces herself as Tammy, and their group is called the Cheery Red Tomatoes.
The nationwide social organization for women of a certain age?
She knows everything about everyone. They say that they're going to get margaritas and poke fun at their husbands, and they ask Marge to join.
He spent my last 3 birthdays in jail, called out his bowling ball's name during sex.
Save it for margarita time. Marge comes home in a red dress and she says that she's a junior member of the Cheery Red Tomatoes.
Marge? In a gang? What are you gonna do? Shoot me with a frosting gun?
Homer says he'd love that. Of course he would. After a few more fun days with the girls, they made Marge a full member of the group and gave her a little cute hat. And as a member, she gets to share in all their secrets. They tell her a plan for this year's fundraiser.
This year, we're gonna steal $1 million from Mr. Burns.
You're joking! You've gotta be joking!
Marge objects and says she cannot steal even if it's from Mr. Burns. The girls explained that Mr. Burns promised $1 million to the children's hospital, but then instead of donating it, he used it to extend his life. They tell her that there are 12 special eggs in his vault.
Each worth a small fortune. We can get them, but we need your special skills.
And what skills are that? Marge said she never thought she'd be robbing people, but they convinced her by telling her friends stick together, especially when they're trying to pull off $1 million heist. That night, Homer asked Marge where she was going, and she said bird watching. Bird watching? At night?
If she's going bird watching, why did she leave our Peterson's Field Guide to Birds on the kitchen counter?
Good, I'm not the only suspicious one. He went into their bedroom and started looking through her things.
Now, let's see what Marge is up to. Heist plans? Burns' mansion? That's Mr. Burns' mansion!
Meanwhile, Marge and the girls got to the mansion, and they told Marge to climb into the vent, since she's the only one skinny enough.
That's my special skill?
Well, what'd you think? You're a master of disguise?
Well, maybe at least if she had a skill. Being skinny, that ain't a skill. Homer gets into the car to stop Marge from doing something reckless and irresponsible, but he ran a red light and the cops followed him.
Game over, man! Game over!
They sneak out of the room with the eggs, but Mr. Burns stops them.
Wait, You're all women.
I'm not.
I suppose, but you're certainly buxom and flirty.
Stop blushing, Homer.
Oh, no jury on earth will convict a bunch of moist-eyed mothers.
He tells them to give the eggs back and he'll let them go. Mr. Burns sure can be fair when he wants to. The women walk away disappointed, but Marge tells them to stop.
Don't be so sure.
Ah, Marge, I love you.
There's nothing that hair can't hold. Maybe the women didn't need Marge as much as she wanted to be needed, but two little boys sure appreciate her. Marge shows Rod and Todd a life outside of crazy rules and strict morals. Bart has two mommies, opens with Ned Flanders asking Marge to babysit his boys while he's at some convention, and she gladly agrees.
You want to play a game?
How about a sitting still contest? Hands folded.
At least she doesn't have to worry about them getting hurt.
What do you think, Maggie?
Great minds think alike. That night, as Marge was putting the boys to sleep, she overheard their prayers. They thanked God for letting Marge come over.
It was the most fun we've had since Mommy was here.
Aw, that'll just make your heart melt. Ned came home and Marge told him she had fun and that they're really nice kids. So Ned told her she could see them anytime. Marge takes him up on that. And the next time she came over, she saw that their seesaw had shocks.
Up and down seesaws are dangerous.
Shocks? Why don't we try it freestyle?
Careful there, Marge. You're stepping into dangerous territory. Since Marge was spending time with Rod and Todd, Bart and Lisa were getting bored. So they asked Homer to take them to Showbiz Animal Retirement Home. They go there and a woman shows them around. They meet Toot Toot, a sad chimp. The woman said she misses her children, who are all in show business.
Cheer up, Toot Toot. Have some of my ice cream.
As no one taught him not to feed the animals.
My son's been ape-napped!
No, it's still kidnapped. The prefix applies to the victim.
Homer asks the woman if she's going to do something, and she says there's nothing she can do.
A chimp that size could tear your son's head right off.
But you leave the rest of him alone?
And what are you going to do with the rest of him? Meanwhile, Ned came home and saw a ripcord from a Band-Aid wrapper.
Call me Ned Zeppelin, but is one of my boys abrased and contused?
I cut myself on the knife.
Okay, so everything is fine, right? Ned sends the boys to bed and...
So we don't have another disaster, you crawl up those steps.
Don't you think you're taking this a bit too far? Marge tells him that the boys are never going to get self-confidence unless he lets them try things for themselves.
They're all I've got since that sad day when Maud found eternal happiness.
Damn you, Homer. Marge suggested that she should take them out for a fun day at a place where everything is covered in foam and it's owned by a corporation, so it must be safe. Ned says that'd be okay, but you know Ned? That night, Marge asked Homer where Bart was, and he just dodged the question. The next day, Marge took Rod and Todd out for some fun, but Ned followed them. Marge sees him and asks if he's checking up on her.
I'm not Ned. I'm a friendly dog. No, I'm not a good liar.
Well, you shouldn't be a liar at all. Ned asks Marge where is Rod, and she tells him he's up on the rock climbing cliff.
What are you doing? You're gonna get hurt!
I am?
Rod gets scared and lets go, and he hits himself in the face. Ned sees that he chipped a tooth, and he loses it. He shouts in front of everyone that he doesn't want Marge babysitting his boys ever again.
She must be an unfit mother.
I am not an unfit mother.
But Marge spoke too soon, because just as she said that, the news came on showing Bart being held hostage by an angry chimp. The next day, Rod and Todd asked Ned what will they be doing, and he said they'll be looking at bread.
No!
The N-word?
We want Mrs. Simpson back.
They said that Marge let them play Uno and that she made them feel happy.
And not church happy. For real happy.
Come on, Ned, live a little. Meanwhile, Marge is trying to get Toot Toot to let Bart go, but instead she escapes.
Toot Toot has taken Bart to the highest spot in town, the new steeple atop the First Church of Springfield.
Now this doesn't look good. Lisa realizes how they can save Bart. They brought Mr. Teeny, Toot Toot's son, so all they need to do is find a way to get him up there.
I'm already doing it.
Ah! Roddy, get down! You're gonna fall!
Instead of saying, "Good job, son. You're so brave," you think that screaming you're gonna fall is gonna do him some good. Marge tells Ned that he needs to let Rod know he believes in him.
Rod, you can do it, boy. With God on your side, you can't fail.
Rod climbs up and gives Mr. Teeny to Toot Toot, and she lets Bart go. Bart and Rod start climbing down, and Bart tells Rod not to let their hands touch because it's gay. But Rod didn't know what it meant. Bart says that it means he used to be afraid, but now he's not.
I'm gay, Daddy. I'm gay. Mrs. Simpson made me gay.
Marge, maybe it's not time to celebrate yet.
I believe he's saying he's okay.
Rod was a real hero climbing that church. But sometimes heroes don't do crazy stunts. Sometimes they're just moral people. Lisa defends Mr. Burns in front of the whole town. The Fool Monty opens with Mr. Burns finding out he has 6 weeks to live. So he decides to throw a party for everyone to let them know.
The truth is, I'm dying.
Hell yeah!
Finally, a break for the black man.
Well, you don't have to say it to his face. Everyone starts cheering and celebrating, and Mr. Burns can't believe nobody's sad to hear he's dying.
I haven't a friend in the world.
You have me, sir.
I pay you, Smithers.
Well, yeah, but you don't pay him to be your friend. Mr. Burns retired to his room, and he seemed very sad and upset.
Why does everyone hate me?
Gee, let me think. That night, Mr. Burns went out to a cliff, and he wanted to jump.
Goodbye, insufficiently cruel world.
Oh, no! But he got hit by a plane, and then struck by lightning, and he fell into the woods. The next morning, Bart was walking through the woods and found him.
Mr. Burns? My poop stick has brought him back to life. But which end?
I think that's the least of your problems, Bart. Bart thinks Mr. Burns is gonna hurt him, but then...
You, my mommy, daddy, puppy.
Whoa, your brains have turned to oatmeal.
Why does he seem sort of sweet?
Wait for oatmeal.
Bart finds this too weird, so he decides to leave him. But then he sees Mr. Burns is trying to follow him, and he feels bad for him. So he decides to show him mercy.
My dad hates you more than celery, and my mom said no new pets, so I'm hiding you in my room.
Marge raised him right. Later, the family was watching Mr. Burns' funeral live. Kent Brockman started saying a few words to describe Mr. Burns: a philanthropist, a humanitarian, a man of peace.
These are among the people who've come today to spit in Montgomery Burns' open grave.
Okay, maybe not to describe Mr. Burns himself.
Now they're dancing on his grave.
Dance, you sons of bitches!
I guess he really hurt a lot of people. Marge thanks God that Mr. Burns isn't alive to see this, but then...
I'm back! I'm not finished giving you your bath!
He's giving him a bath? I didn't know Bart had it in him. Lisa says that Mr. Burns is in a state of shock because of what he went through. Homer thinks this is great, and he says,
the most evil man in town is in our power.
Doesn't that make you the most evil man in town? Marge says she won't let him do this, so she takes Mr. Burns to the moral and civic leaders of their town.
All those in favor of treating Mr. Burns the way he messed with us, say aye.
Aye! I guess they aren't any better. Lisa tries to defend Mr. Burns in front of everyone, but they just boo her. Lisa says that it takes a lot for an 8-year-old to stand up in front of a whole town.
8-year-old? I always thought you were a midget.
We're called little people, and I'm not one.
But then you aren't called little people. Lisa tells everyone that she understands their desire for revenge, but...
harmless man is not the same remorseless monster who tormented us all.
He's close enough!
Sometimes I just hate people. So people decide that everyone gets Mr. Burns for half an hour to do with as they will.
This town can't teach its kids or collect its garbage, but we lead the nation in pointless revenge.
Amen.
That is sick on so many levels. The town has its way, and they return Mr. Burns to the Simpsons house because it was Homer's turn again.
What did you do with them?
Found a way to use him as a bomb.
Sickos. Lisa takes Mr. Burns to show him that not all of them are vindictive and cruel.
Not today.
How does she always find a way to get her hands on a gun? Lisa took him to his mansion because she thought he might want to spend some time in a place where he felt at home.
Lots of room for friends.
Actually, sir, the man who lived here didn't have many friends.
Lisa tells him that he's a better person. But just as she said that, Mr. Burns saw a picture of himself and he remembered who he was.
Daddy's home.
Oh, dear God, he's gonna kill them all, isn't he? Mr. Burns flies with a helicopter over Springfield and announces that reckoning has arrived.
I've got my memory back, and I'm going to wreak a terrible vengeance.
Again? Mr. Burns said that he took an idea from Stephen King's book, so he's going to cover the town with a dome.
It's been done!
Really? You don't say. Did you know about this?
Marge says that he can't hurt them after what they've done for him. He was given 6 weeks to live, and he outlived it.
I think what kept you alive was that for once in your life, you were helping other people.
Mr. Burns thought to himself. Then he tried giving candy to Ralph, and he almost died.
It wasn't kindness that was keeping me alive. It was bile building up inside.
Mr. Burns thanks Springfield for giving him a secret to eternal life.
Hate!
You're welcome.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below with your favorite heroic moment from The Simpsons. These are 10 times Ned Flanders and Homer Simpson clashed. Homer wished that Ned's business would fail, but when it did, he didn't feel so good. When Flanders failed opens with Ned announcing to his friends and neighbors that he's quit his job and that he's decided to open a leftorium, a place where he'll be selling stuff designed for left-handed people. He asks Homer what he thought about that idea.
It sounds like a pretty dumb idea to me.
Oh, well, I know it's a little risky.
Oh, Ned. So gracious. Maude comes over and gives Ned and Homer a wishbone to make a wish, and at first Homer didn't want to do it, but then Ned told him that there must be something he wished for.
Too far.
That's not very love thy neighbor of you. Homer wins, and he's really happy about it. And Ned tells him not to say what he wished for.
Otherwise, it won't come true.
Ooh, that would be a shame. Wasn't it?
What an awful person you are, Homer. The next day, Homer went to the mall and he saw Ned in his new store. He asks him how the business is going, and Ned says,
"Oh, a little pokey, but things are gonna pick up."
I bet this makes you happy, Homer. That night at dinner, Homer was gloating about how Ned's store doesn't have any business. He said that he's glad to see Ned fall flat on his butt.
He's usually all happy and comfortable and surrounded by loved ones, and it makes me feel...
What? Unhappy about your life? The next day, Homer went to Ned's store again and he saw that he didn't have any customers, but Ned was staying optimistic.
I think word of mouth is starting to spread.
Hey, I hear you validate parking tickets without purchase.
I think the wrong word of mouth is spreading. Later, while Homer was at Moe's, Moe asked him how was Ned's new store going, and Homer said it's lousy and that he just sits there all day. Moe asked Homer what does he sell, and then he started struggling with the right-handed corkscrew.
Well, actually, Mo, I don't know.
He had an opportunity right there and he just ignored it. He really needs a few lessons from Flanders. The next day, Homer was in Mr. Burns' office and he saw him struggling to open a can of cat food because he was left-handed also.
Come on, Homer. Tell him about the store. I'm dying out here.
Sorry, Flanders.
I'm starting to lose all respect I got for you, Homer. When he came home from work, Homer saw that Ned was selling his property outside on his lawn. And instead of trying to help, he gloated some more.
$20, take it or leave it.
Oh, Homer, be reasonable.
Sorry, no cash for Neddy.
Awful, awful man. In the end, Ned sold all of his furniture for $75. The next day, a man rang the Simpsons doorbell and he said that they need to pay their bills.
We've been very patient with you, Mr. Flanders.
Oh, poor Ned. Homer realizes Ned is in debt and...
Damn right-handed ledges. Can't write in these things.
Well, there's a store.
So many wasted opportunities. That night, Homer went to Ned's house, but he and his family were all packed up in a car, ready to leave. They lost the house, and they're now forced to move to Capital City to live with Ned's sister.
Ever since that barbecue, nothing's gone right. It's like there's been a curse on me.
Well, there has been a curse on you. Homer tells Ned to go to the store tomorrow, and maybe his luck will change. Then he went home and made some calls. The next morning, Ned was going to the store when...
Hurry, Neddy, hurry! Oh, golly, it's a miracle!
All right, Homer, you can live.
Homer, affordable tract housing made us neighbors, but you made us friends.
And Ned Flanders.
But not that much later, Homer actually began to like Flanders. Homer and Ned become good friends. But the roles reverse and now Homer is annoying Flanders. Homer Loves Flanders opens with Homer not being able to get tickets for a big Springfield versus Shelbyville game, but Flanders got them, so he invited Homer to join him. Homer prayed to God to get him tickets to the game.
Idly-ho, neighbor. Want to go to the game with me?
Why do you mock me, oh Lord?
I think God just answered your prayers, but okay. Call it mocking. Eventually, Homer agreed to go with Ned, but he was embarrassed to be seen with him, so he made Ned duck when they passed Lenny and Carl.
Hey, look, Homer's got one of those robot cars.
One of those American robot cars.
That's really mean. Ned got snacks for himself and Homer said that he should pay his share, but Ned told him to relax because he's his guest.
Ooh, you brought me a nacho hat. Thanks, Ned.
Okay, so far so good. They're getting along. The Springfield team wins, and Homer stays after the game to try and get an autograph from any player. But it turns out he didn't have to try so hard because one of the players knows Ned. The player told Ned he wants to give him the game ball because he helped him so much, but Ned said,
Homer Simpson here is just about the biggest Atom fan that's ever graced God's green earth.
Ned says that Homer would probably enjoy it more than him and gives it to Homer. Homer was shocked that Ned would do such a thing for him.
This is about the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me.
Be sure to remember that the next time you're rude to him. The next day, Ned invited Homer to come over and try out the new pool table.
Dad and Ned Flanders friends? What's next? A's on Bart's report card?
That's an accurate but cruel joke. Homer and Ned start spending more and more time together, and Homer starts neglecting his family over it.
Honey, I'm so glad you're home.
Can't talk, see Flanders later, sex.
Gee, Homer, Ned Flanders over sex. You really have changed. But Homer wasn't realizing that he was actually imposing quite a lot.
Homer, I'd love to chitty-chat, but tonight's the night I do my charity work.
Homer tells Ned that a judge made him do charity work as well. I don't think Ned's doing that because a judge made him do it. Marge told Homer that it's nice that he's been spending time with Ned, but his family needs him too.
You've hated Ned for years. In fact, you wanted to bash his head in with a pipe.
That was you!
Homer, you delusional man. Homer says he wants the two families to take a trip this weekend so they can get to know each other better, which Bart wholeheartedly disagrees with. Lisa tells Bart that every week something odd happens to their family, so her advice is to just ride it out and...
By next week, we'll be back to where we started from, ready for another wacky adventure.
Breaking the fourth wall, I see. The weekend couldn't have gone more horribly, and Ned kept getting more and more annoyed at Homer.
Oh, Lord, please give me the strength to endure Homer Simpson's friendship.
Ned's boat, somehow, by Homer's hand most certainly, flew straight into Ned's car.
Your car? Boy, what are the odds, huh?
Ned, you better keep praying. That night, Ned had a dream about killing Homer, and he woke up screaming.
What's the matter, Ned?
I think I hate Homer Simpson.
You think? The next morning, Homer came over to ask Ned, what are they doing today? And Ned said they're going to visit Grandma Flanders, but just the Flanders family.
Oh, okay.
That's very creepy, Homer. Ned realized he just lied in front of his kids, and he tried to explain.
To keep from hurting someone's feelings, we have to say things that aren't exactly...
Lies made baby Jesus cry.
Yeah, Ned, you just made baby Jesus cry. Homer went over to Ned's house to see if he could hang out, and Ned just busted out of his garage trying to escape.
I guess he didn't see me.
We did it! We got rid of...
But Chief Wiggum pulled him over and busted him for being on drugs.
Ned Flanders, I never would have imagined.
Oh, and in front of the whole church. The next Sunday, Ned couldn't stand to go to church, but when they came in, Homer invited them to sit together. Reverend Lovejoy first had to say a few words about Homer's good deeds lately, and then they began to pray. But Homer's loud breathing really ticked Ned off.
Stop it! Breathe through your damn mouth!
Oh.
Ned began to yell about how annoying Homer is, but then everyone turned against him.
How dare you talk about Ned Flanders like that? He's a wonderful, kind, caring man.
Can someone check on Homer? Because I can't believe those words are coming out of his mouth.
If everyone here were like Ned Flanders, there'd be no need for heaven. We'd already be there.
I think I'm gonna faint. Everybody apologized to Ned, and then Ned came up to Homer to apologize to him.
You really are you're a true friend.
Right back at you, buddy.
But even though Ned lashed out at Homer, Homer decided to help him once again and make his life a bit more unpredictable. Homer takes Ned to Vegas, and they marry waitresses from the casino. Viva Ned Flanders opens with people finding out that Ned is actually 60 years old. And this raised eyebrows, but not in the way you might think.
Geez, Flanders, you're 60 years old and you haven't lived a day in your life.
Well, a life following rules and norms isn't a life not lived. But this really made Ned think, and he didn't understand why people were making fun of him for the way he chooses to live. Ned tells him that he's happy to stick with his plain white bread.
Thank you very much. Maybe with a
glass of water on the side for dipping.
That sounds disgusting.
Am I that pre-diddly-ictable?
Yes, you darn diddly are. The next day, Ned was looking at Homer and how he lives carelessly, and he decided to ask him for help.
Well. So Flawless Flanders needs help from Stinky Pants Simpson.
Calling yourself Stinky Pants does not make you sound cool, Homer. Homer and Ned take a drive, and Ned asks Homer to give him some topic sentences so he can get the picture. And Homer just took his notebook and threw it out.
That's your problem. You're living up here. You gotta live down here, in the impulse zone.
I thought he was gonna point to somewhere more south. Homer decides to take Ned to Las Vegas for a little gambling.
It's going on 8:30. I better call Maud and tell her where I am.
Homer told Ned that he already called Maud from the gas station.
Thanks, buddy.
Sucker.
Ned's gonna have some explaining to do when he gets back.
Oh, the lights, the noise, the letter X. It's all designed to inflame the senses. I'm overstimulated.
Ned, that's the average life nowadays. Homer takes Ned to a casino and Ned tells him he can't gamble.
Games of chance are strictly forbidden by Deuteronomy 7.
7, eh?
And of course, 7 is a winner.
The Bible's finally pulling its weight. Got any more holy numbers?
Ned said that gambling just doesn't feel right to him.
Oh, Lord. What should I do?
Gaming.
What?
It means gambling.
Well, if God said so. Homer took Ned for a drink, and Ned asked him, how does he silence the little voice that tells him to think?
You mean Lisa?
Oh, no, I mean common sense.
Oh, that. That can be treated with our good friend alcohol.
Good. Numb all sense of morality. Homer decided to get Ned plastered, and they just kept ordering drinks. The next morning, Ned woke up and realized he got drunk and actually had an eventful night.
I have a pounding headache. My mouth tastes like vomit, and I don't remember a thing.
Welcome to my world.
But then the 2 waitresses came up to them.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Mrs. Ned Flanders.
Ned, you better not come home.
Hey, smooth move, Flanders.
And I'm Mrs. Homer Simpson.
Homer either. Homer and Ned didn't believe them at first, but then they showed them the tape.
I oakley, dokily, schmokily do.
I now pronounce you husbands and wives.
Well, it doesn't get more legal than that. Homer and Ned try to explain to the women that they're already married, but they don't care about that.
This is all your fault. You and your stupid program.
Blame me if you must, but don't ever speak ill of the program.
How are those 2 not connected in his mind?
Our husbands are trying to ditch us.
Someone dishonoring their marriage vows? Not in Las Vegas.
Now you're taking the moral high ground. Unfortunately, people stop them, and Homer and Ned can't escape.
What if we switched wives? Would that help?
For the last time? No!
They get beaten up, but while they were indisposed, the waitress found other guys and gave up on Ned and Homer.
Las Vegas doesn't care for out-of-towners. Take your money and go someplace else.
Sentence said never by no one. But since Ned got a taste for adventure, he never wanted to be anywhere near it again. Ned decides to open a theme park in honor of Maud's memory. I'm going to Praise Land opens with Ned realizing he hasn't even begun to move on from Maud after her passing. How did he come to this realization, you might ask? Well, for starters, his house is filled with pictures of Maud. And when he offered a girl he liked to spend the night at his place instead of a motel, he cut her hair to look just like Maud's in her sleep.
You're trying to make me look like your dead wife!
No, I know this is a tad unseemly.
Ned, there's no getting out of this one. The Simpsons offer to go through Maud's things for Ned, since there's no way he'd go through them himself.
A lifetime of memories.
Homer, don't you have any respect?
Sure.
I mean, at some point, you just really gotta move on. But seeing that there's so much of Maud's stuff, Homer says,
Man, this is taking forever. I know how to speed things up.
Oh no, that's just not humane. But something didn't get chopped up. Maud's old sketchbook. Ned flipped through it and saw sketches of a Christian-themed amusement park.
Praise Land?
That's actually pretty clever. Ned decides to build it with the help of the Simpsons and good people of Springfield who were kind enough to donate what they could. Soon enough, Ned was able to open Praise Land.
Well, Maud, your dream has finally come true.
But Maud's dream, or Ned's way of executing it, didn't really scream fun, didn't really scream anything. It was quite boring and uneventful.
A Bible park without beer? Now I've seen everything.
I bet Ned didn't account for the town's alcoholics. Soon everybody was leaving and Ned didn't understand why.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. Oh, please don't look at me like that.
That's beyond creepy. But then Maud's mask flew into the air and it was floating right in front of Maud's statue.
It's a miracle!
It's almost like she's alive again.
I wouldn't be so positive about that.
This is fantastic. I've never been so close to rubbing my eyes in disbelief.
Chalmers? Even you? But then the mask fell down and Skinner said that apparently there's no phenomenon. There must be a rational explanation. But as he was saying that...
He's speaking in tongues.
Oh, knock it off, Seymour.
Agnes, I don't think he's pretending. Skinner said that he saw heaven, but it wasn't clouds and angels.
It was a golden elementary school with a teacher's lounge that stretched as far as the eye could see.
That's his version of heaven? At least it's not he and his mother.
Was I there?
No, it was heaven. My vision of heaven.
People start saying that this was the will of Maude, and then everyone started wishing for Maude to give them a vision. But Homer won't let this happen without something in return.
The power of Christ compels you to give Ned an extra $10.
Homer, no.
Ned says he can't exploit a divine manifestation.
Oh, why not? Everybody's doing it.
Unfortunately, he's not wrong. Bart tells Ned that he could donate the money to the local orphanage, so eventually Ned agrees. Rod and Ton ask Ned how come everyone's having visions, and he tells them that there's no explaining God's will. But then...
Stupid grill! Why won't you light? The gas is on full blast.
Lisa tells him that there must be a leak in the line, which made Ned think,
Oh no! This isn't a divine miracle. Everyone's just getting goofy from the gas.
So, Ned, you've been taking money from people in order to get them poisoned by gas. Ned goes to tell everybody that there's no miracle, but then he looked at the orphans and decided to call the gas company first. Ned tells Homer he needs to close Praiseland down, or someone could get hurt.
Could get hurt. Could! There's a chance they won't.
And there's a chance they'll start dropping dead. So, do you want to take a chance with that, Homer? Homer told Ned that Praiseland touched an entire town.
With its inspiring message and toxic super freakouts.
But then they saw orphans lighting candles over the leaking gas line, so they jumped on them.
Adults attacking orphans? I don't think Maude Flanders would approve of that.
Did any of them actually know Maude? So Ned was forced to close down Praiseland.
May the Lord have mercy on your gas-sniffing, orphan-beaten soul.
Christ be with you!
But the bone breaking from earlier wasn't the last time Homer prayed for Ned's job to tank. Guess he didn't learn anything. Homer ruins Ned's life by praying to God that Ned loses his job. Left Behind opens with Ned coming over to the Simpsons' house to tell Homer and Marge that his leftorium is out of business and that he doesn't know what to do. Marge says that Homer can help him get a job at the power plant, and Homer objects to it at first. But then he just tells Ned that he should call HR and they'll help him. Ned instantly gets a job, and now he and Homer are carpooling to work.
Look, Ned, we're just driving together. I don't want any idlies, diddlies.
That's gonna be one long drive. Since Ned is the new HR rep at the plant, he held a meeting about harassment in the workplace. Lenny and Carl immediately started making fun of Ned and called him a wuss, and they asked Homer if he helped them get a job. Homer said he only told them to call HR, and
you didn't put in a good word.
No!
You idiot! A recommendation from you would have sunk him for sure.
Well, what's so wrong with Ned? Except his religious extremism. Later, Ned saw Homer sleeping at work and he confronted him about it. And not only that, but he wanted to form a prayer circle during lunch.
If you pray at lunch, aren't you interrupting God's lunch?
Finally.
That night, Homer couldn't sleep because he was thinking of Ned.
Can't take it. I can't take it. Why can't he be like our neighbor on the other side who we never see?
Yeah, what's up with that guy? Then, to make matters worse, he started imagining Ned's mustache on everyone.
What's the matter, homie?
Oh, no.
That must be really disturbing to see. So, Homer had to go to his last resort, praying.
Could you please get him fired? I feel you. Thanks.
Oh, I reached him.
Yes, in the worst possible way. The next day, Flanders went to talk to Mr. Burns about how the company has never donated anything to charity. Instead of talking about it, Mr. Burns just let out his hounds.
You're fired!
Homer's prayers came true. Hope you're proud, Homer. Ned tried to get other jobs, but he failed, so he was now a single father without a job to support his family. Homer noticed that Ned was growing more irritated, and he began feeling bad for what he wished for. But then Marge remembered something Ned could do.
You should be what Jesus was.
A carpenter?
No.
Fisherman?
No.
Foot washer?
No.
Be more specific, Marge.
A teacher. I think you should be a teacher.
Like Jesus.
Well, that's an idea that should have come to everyone's minds earlier. But when Ned came to school, he was given Bart's class. Great start.
Simpson, take the kill shot.
Why me?
Prove your loyalty.
Peer pressure sure will get to you. Ned looked at Bart and told him that they've known each other for years, and
if you can fire that spitwad after our long relationship, I don't deserve to be a teacher.
And he spit.
Last lesson, kids. F is for foolish, and failure, and Flanders. You win.
Poor Ned. The Simpsons men really have a way of getting to him. Homer went to Moe's, and he said that he thinks he ruined Ned's life.
Join the club.
What are you doing here?
I come here for a G&T, gumball and talk.
There's something terribly wrong with the kid in a bar. The two of them decide to go and apologize to Flanders and try to get him back to teaching.
I think you could be a great teacher. almost as good as her.
But nobody is quite like Edna. Ned remembers that Edna never gave up, so neither will he. But how will he get the kids to respect him?
Do people respect God? No, they fear him.
Facts. The next day, Ned came back to school and he told the kids to take their seats.
How you gonna make us?
I won't. The good Lord will.
And suddenly, the word behave appeared on the board.
Huh? The scariest thing is we don't have a class skeleton.
Classic El Barto. But I don't think there'd be the nice relationship they share today if Homer hadn't made Ned's life a living hell at some point. Ned decides to move away after Homer made the entire town laugh at him behind his back. Home Away from Homer opens with Ned deciding to rent out a room in his house so he can make some extra cash. And he rents it out to 2 foreign exchange students.
You can catch some Z's while you earn those degrees.
You rhyme like Snoopy Dog.
Well, they seem nice. But wait.
Katja, do you think anyone's watching?
If they are, they will see us explore our sexhood.
Oh, dear Lord. Bart and Milhouse continue watching, and they see Ned coming into the girls' room.
Flanders!
That's odd. I could have sworn I just heard someone shriek my name.
Is nobody gonna tell him what's happening under his roof? Bart and Milhouse found the cam girls funny, but then Homer came in to see what they were laughing about.
Scantily clad co-eds? Why, you little... You have a libido!
Honestly, for the first time, appropriate reaction from Homer. But then he saw Ned in the video and Bart tells him he doesn't even know what's going on.
Wait till I tell everyone about this. I'll feel important without drinking. That'll be weird.
That's actually so sad. I don't want to begin to think about it. Homer spreads the word around to everyone in town and they all start making fun of Ned for not noticing. But soon, Marge found out what Homer and Bart were watching and she dragged Homer over to Ned's to tell him what's going on.
You softcore sophomores took advantage of my trustful nature and sullied the internet.
He put it so nicely you wouldn't even notice that they did anything wrong. Ned kicked the girls out, but then the whole town came over to laugh at him, and he realized everyone knew and didn't tell him. Ned thinks that Homer is his only real friend, but...
Are you kidding? Homer's the one what wised us up to the sexy goings-on.
And the cat's out of the bag. Ned can't believe that Homer also betrayed him like that, and he decided to move his family to a different town where they'll be more accepted and appreciated.
Made in Humbleton, PA. Huh. I don't usually make big life decisions based on things stamped on things.
That's a good policy, no need to change it. Lisa told Homer that he doesn't even realize what he's done, and that he hurt the best friend and neighbor they have. So Homer went over to apologize, but then he saw a note from Ned.
He's gone, and it's all someone's fault.
Yes, yours. But Ned's new life wasn't as jolly as he had hoped. He got a job as a miniature figurine maker, but the job requested that he shaves his mustache.
My mustache has the right to life. It's my body and my choice.
That sounds hypocritical. Meanwhile, Homer was having troubles with the new neighbor, so he decided to pay Ned a visit and beg him to come back. Homer told him that he took a lot of stuff from him over the years, but there were just some things he could never take away.
Your kindness, your gentle spirit, and your infinite patience with a big dumb jerk like me.
At least he's aware of it. Ned decides to come back and he asks the new neighbor nicely for his house back, but he wouldn't give it to him. So Ned had to pull out the big guns. He told him that his check bounced, so legally, Ned still owns the house.
Yeah? Tell it to the Marines.
Wow, Ned's strong.
Oh! Why did you do that? I was begging for mercy!
I saw my advantage and I took it. That's what heroes do.
Do heroes always break into neighbors' houses? Homer and Ned get into a fist fight over ranch. The Very Hungry Caterpillars opens with the news of a caterpillar outbreak hitting Springfield.
A sudden environmental catastrophe has rocked Springfield.
That's disgusting. So Springfield is in lockdown, and this means no getting out of the house, which is the best possible outcome if you ask Bart and Homer. But Lisa tells a different story.
This is the third once-in-a-millennium disaster this year.
Well, that's the world we're living in. To make matters worse, Maggie has a new addiction to ranch, and she won't eat anything without it.
It's locked down and we're out of ranch dressing. But if you try one of these, the dip fairy will come.
Gee, Maggie is violent. Marge tells Homer that Maggie won't eat anything, and he should go to Ned to see if he has any ranch.
I don't know what I'm more excited for, eternal bliss or finally getting to use all my rapture supplies.
Did he somehow know this was gonna happen or what? Homer starts picking things to bring home with him, and they get to the ranch.
Now give me the food that was meant to ensure the survival of your children.
Now that's not very nice, Homer. What do you say? Ned thought about what his life and his children's lives will look like if he just went along with Homer's demands, and he realized They'll starve if they let Homer take whatever he wants, whenever he wants.
That's all Ned would give you. Did you ask nicely?
If he asked at all, maybe he would get some more. Marge said that maybe she could ration the amount carefully. But then the news said that the lockdown was extended.
They extended the lockdown. This could go on for months, or forever, or longer.
And they're at a ranch. But as days passed, Marge was having more and more troubles with Maggie and her ranch obsession. And she looked over at Ned's house.
His kids don't know what it's like to live in a world without ranch. Getting angry won't help anything.
And then Maggie started crying.
Screw this! Tonight we're breaking into Ned's basement and cleaning that sucker out.
You know it's bad when Marge decides to break the rules. Homer and Marge break into Ned's basement while he was upstairs playing guitar to his boys. They started pouring the ranch into plastic bags when Homer knocked over a can and Ned heard him.
Whoever's down here stealing my supplies, the end of days is coming, but a little earlier for you.
Homer jumped to distract Ned from Marge so she could run away with the ranch.
He who steals from his neighbor shall reap the croquet mallet. A reading from the Book of Flanders.
Okay, the end is very near for Homer. The two of them start fighting, and it's probably the most intense, or first, actually, physical fight they ever had.
I'll die before I don't take what's yours!
Yes, we know.
If I don't make it, tell Maggie it was her fault!
I don't think she'll be very burdened with it. Ned smacks Homer over the head, and Homer loses his balance.
You want to dip? Let's dip.
Oh, he really is psychotic. Marge came back and told Ned to stop. She told him he's a wonderful man who's shown nothing but kindness to their family.
It's time I put the Christian back in extremist Christian end times prepper. My dear Homer, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry, he's just eating. But Ned's not the only good neighbor in need. Ned loses his home in a hurricane, so Homer helps rebuild it. Hurricane Neddy opens with a hurricane hitting Springfield, and everyone's getting ready for it to hit. Ned invited Homer and his family to join him in his bunker, but Homer said he's sure he'd be a third wheel.
Oh, no, sirree. We'd be happy as hens to have
I would make it my business to be a third wheel.
Okay, Homer, calm down. The Simpsons wait out the hurricane in their cellar, and Marge prayed really hard for God to spare them, and the hurricane stopped.
It just goes to show you that everything will work out if you have faith.
How do you explain that, then?
It's all gone. Everything. Gone diddly on.
You can't tell me Ned doesn't have enough faith. Ned's house is completely demolished, but at least everyone in his family is alive. The unfortunate thing is they don't have insurance because Ned doesn't believe in it, since he considers it a form of gambling. Ned and his family went to the rescue center at a church, and Ned began praying to God.
I've done everything the Bible says, even the stuff that contradicts the other stuff.
Maybe some of it is a problem, but that's another story.
I want to yell out, but I just can't dang diddly do dang do damn diddly darn do it.
He's really losing it. The next day, Marge went to pick them up and bring them to their house for a surprise.
Oh, they rebuilt our house.
Oh, it's a miracle.
It sure is, since I don't remember any of them having any knowledge as to how to build a house. But Ned's surprise and relief didn't last long. When he went into the house, he saw it had many faults, and the fact that Homer said they didn't have all the parts or knowledge didn't really help.
Oh, something is definitely wrong with this hallway.
Come on in! It's your master bedroom!
So basically they made it an even bigger problem. Ned went out of the house to take a breath, but he just couldn't keep it inside anymore.
Ah, hell, diddly ding dong crap! Can't you morons do anything right?
And he's gone. Marge said that they all meant well and did the best they could.
Well, my family and I can't live in good intentions, Marge.
I'm on his side with this. But Ned didn't stop there. He went off on everyone, and finally, he finished with Homer.
Homer, you are the worst human being I have ever met.
He doesn't seem to be fazed by that. Ned just got in a car and drove off straight to a mental hospital to commit himself.
Shall I show you to your room, or would you prefer to be dragged off kicking and screaming?
Ned says he'd like to go kicking and screaming. Okay, weirdo. But when a doctor heard Ned was committed, he went straight to the hospital to talk to him. Turns out he was his psychiatrist from when Ned was a boy, and he treated him for his aggressive behavior. But
the only problem with the treatment was that it worked too well. You became unable to express any anger.
The doctor explained that he could only respond with a string of nonsensical jabbering. Makes sense if you ask me. The doc asked Ned if there was any person he can think of who makes him particularly angry.
Mental hospital? I don't know any Ned Flanders.
The sad truth is he really didn't know who they were talking about. Homer went to the hospital and his job was to make Ned confess to something he hates, but the script they gave him just wasn't working. But then Homer pulled out his own big guns.
You're afraid to be human.
Ned asked Homer why would he be afraid of that?
Because humans are obnoxious sometimes. Humans hate things.
Homer's actually right. Homer told Ned that there must be something he hates, and Ned said that he doesn't like the post office and the waiting in line, and also...
That and my parents. The beatniks.
Well, Homer, you've done it again. So Ned's cured by the power of Homer. Don't let the irony get lost on you. But don't let Homer's one good deed per season fool you. He's actually really mean to Ned most of the time. Homer pits Bart against Todd so he could rub it in Ned's face. Dead Pudding Society opens with Ned inviting Homer in for a drink, but Homer couldn't handle the envy he felt. Ned's house was perfect, his wife was perfect, and his kids actually respect him. Homer started yelling at Ned to knock it off because he's been rubbing his life in his face the whole time.
You and your son like each other. Your wife's butt is higher than my wife's butt. You make me sick.
Gee, Homer, the first time you're in someone's house and you tell the man he makes you sick. Ned asks Homer politely to leave. That night, Homer was tossing and turning in bed, talking about how Ned made him mad. Meanwhile, Ned was doing the same thing, only he felt bad for kicking Homer out. Ned decides to write Homer a letter of apology, only for Homer to laugh and mock it as he read it in front of his family.
Neighbors forever. Oh no! Ned Flanders.
Marge says it's mean that they're making fun of Ned, and that she wished they were as close as the Flanders. Homer suggested that they should go mini-golf, and what do you know, they meet Ned there. They decide to play together, and Homer gets absolutely demolished. But then they see a competition, and the winner gets $50. Bart and Todd decide to enter, but Homer starts pushing Bart that he must win.
It's awfully good.
Oh yeah? Well, I think the fruit of my loins can beat the fruit of your loins.
That's very creepy. Bart starts having some anxiety over it because he's never won anything in his life.
This is the only time I'm ever going to say this. It is not okay to lose.
Sure, don't make it easier on your son. Homer puts a picture of Todd Flanders in Bart's room so he can look at it every day and concentrate on how much he hates him. Lisa sees Bart struggling, so she decides to help him by training his mind, not his body.
The basis of this game seems to be simple geometry.
You've actually found a practical use for geometry.
See, geometry isn't so bad. But Homer decides to make this even more interesting by placing a bet.
The father of the boy who doesn't win has to mow the lawn in his wife's Sunday dress.
And Ned agreed to this?
Good gravy, what have I done?
Now you're thinking about it. Now, the day of the competition comes around and the boys are ready, but the pressure is on.
Having never received any words of encouragement myself, I'm not sure how they're supposed to sound. I believe in you.
At least someone said it. The boys actually do pretty well on the competition, and they tie the entire time. Todd tells Bart his knees are shaking, but at least it builds character.
Who wants to build character? Let's quit.
Okay.
And just like that, they quit. They tell the judges they decided they're equally good, and they want to call it a draw. But this doesn't mean that Homer has given up on embarrassing Ned.
But neither. You have to do it too.
It's a small price to pay to see you humiliate yourself.
Homer, there's no sin worse than pride.
Kinda reminds me of my good old fraternity days.
Oh my God, he's enjoying it.
See? You didn't win anything at all. But besides the petty rivalry, Homer and Ned actually make a pretty good team. Homer and Ned become bounty hunters together. Sex, pies, and idiot scrapes starts with Homer becoming a bounty hunter, hunting down people who didn't show up on their bail hearing. But like Homer at any new job he takes on, he didn't really know what he was in for. He was chasing Snake Jailbird down the road and he backed him into an alley when Snake pulled a gun on him. He tried to talk him down, but he got confused by his own words.
Not shooting me now would be the biggest mistake of your life.
So, of course, Snake shot at him. But at the last moment...
Bulletproof glass.
Flanders?
Always there to save the day. The next day, Homer went by Ned's store to give him a thank you card and his share of the money for bringing in Snake.
Ned, I never thought I'd say this, but we make a great team.
Us? A team?
Ned, I'm just as shocked as you are. Homer suggests that they should be bounty hunters together.
Together we're nothing, but together we're the perfect bounty hunter.
Somehow that made perfect sense. Ned said he could use more money, but Homer had to promise him that everything will be done by the book. Homer and Ned officially started working together, and as Ned was thanking God for all the felons, and
also thank you for my partner Homer, who... Did you just taser my coffee?
Seems like something Homer would do. Turns out they really make a good team. But one fateful day, everything changed. They were on a stakeout waiting for Fat Tony, listening to music and eating pizza, when Fat Tony finally came out. They chased him down the street, but he got on a train and they lost him.
There's one thing he didn't count on. My reckless indifference to human life.
Ned asks God to have mercy and give Homer a stroke. Sometimes all of us are praying for that. Homer rams his car into the train and they catch Fat Tony.
Homer, you can't drive a car onto a subway. You need a special sticker just to bring a bike.
Ned asks Homer if he has no respect for the law. No, he does not. Ned gets angry because Homer promised him everything will be done by the book.
You know what your problem is? You haven't become as bad as the people we chase.
This partnership is over.
Well, it was good while it lasted. Ned went to quit as a bounty hunter, but the boss said he had one final job for him, a job Homer couldn't complete.
Homer?
Seems he never showed up in court on his St. Patrick's Day arrest.
Ned decided to take the job, so when Homer came back home, he was waiting for him.
I figured a good time to pick you up was when they were at Lisa's recital.
Homer is surprised that Ned guessed he would be there. Well, it doesn't take a genius. Homer started running away and Ned was following him close behind. I just don't know when either of them got so physically fit.
I loved you, man.
For the last few weeks, but most of the time I've known you, you've treated me like dirt.
Hey, Ned's got a point. Homer told Ned he holds too much resentment.
I forgave you for accidentally killing my wife.
Yeah, but you hold on to the big things.
And that's a small thing, how?
The point is, the more I got to know you, the more I got to like you.
Ned told Homer that he likes him too, but Homer broke the law, so Ned's gotta bring him in. But then he slipped, and Homer was thinking a while before he decided to help him.
Thanks, but what are you holding on to?
Well,
That wasn't very thought through now, was it? They fell into concrete and they couldn't get out. The police came at night after Ned finished reciting the entire Old Testament to Homer.
Simpson, we're gonna put you away for a long, long time.
Make it life and you've got a deal.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with your favorite fight between Ned and Homer below. These are the weirdest jobs Homer has ever had. Homer becomes an astronaut and almost dies in the process. Deep Space Homer opens with Homer thinking no one respects him and he hasn't done anything worthwhile in his life.
TV respects me. It laughs with me, not at me.
You stupid.
Not a good moment to turn it on. Meanwhile, NASA is launching people into space, but nobody is watching it because it's so boring. They decide to find a common blue-collar man, and they'll send him into space. But they don't need to search for someone like that because Homer just called them.
Listen, I'm sick of your boring space launches. Now, I'm just an ordinary blue-collar slob.
He just saved them a lot of work. NASA takes Homer and Barney for testing to see if they can become astronauts.
I'd like to present the new generation of NASA astronaut, the average American.
That just looks embarrassing. Between Homer and Barney, Homer is surely gonna win. At least that's what everyone thought. But since Barney had to stop drinking, he really shaped up, and after a series of tests, they chose him.
It begins!
Give me that! Stop it!
The NASA people looked confused and said,
That was non-alcoholic champagne.
The men tell Homer that he's the winner now, by default.
Default! Woohoo!
At least he's proud of himself. On the day of the launch, Homer got scared and he didn't want to go through with it. He told Marge that being an astronaut is how he got her to respect him. But Marge told him she met him when he wasn't an astronaut.
But I still respected you, and I always will, no matter what.
Marge told him that if he didn't take advantage of the opportunity, he could end up regretting it for the rest of his life. Homer realized Marge was right, and he decided to go to space after all.
Hey guys, look what I smuggled aboard.
Homer, no!
The other guys said that the chips will clog the instruments.
I'll take care of this.
We didn't think it would be any other way. But then he hit his head into the ants, and they scattered across the ship.
The ants are shorting out our navigation system!
The solution seems pretty obvious to me. They realize they can just open the door and that everything that is not bolted into place will just fly outside. But Homer let go and he almost flew into space. But he held on to the handle and then it broke.
If that hatch open, we'll burn up on re-entry!
Well, Homer, you just sealed your destiny. But then Homer pulled out a seemingly radioactive bar and sealed the door shut.
If that bar holds, we just might make it back to Earth.
I'll bash you!
It's not the time. They managed to get back to Earth, and the journalists asked them how they got back safely.
Homer Simpson was the real hero here. He jury-rigged the door closed using this.
And again, the rod outshined him.
I got gypped.
Oh, homie, you should be proud. Only a handful of people have done what you've done.
Yes, Only you almost got your crew killed for a bag of chips. And then later on, he almost got himself killed because he wanted to be a freak. Homer's on a mission to prove he's still hip. Homerpalooza opens with Homer trying to prove he's cool, so he takes Bart and Lisa to a festival called Hullabalooza. After desperately trying to fit in, he realizes that times have changed.
Dad, you cannot wear that. That's a Rastafarian hat.
Hey, I've been safarian since before you were born.
Okay, cultural appropriation. Homer was feeling defeated after not being able to connect with his kids, and he kicks a cannon, taking a cannonball to the gut.
Oh man, here goes Peter Frampton's big finale.
Turns out Homer's beer belly is the real MVP of this episode. A man comes up to him and tells him he runs the freak show, and...
I've been looking for a big fatso to shoot with a cannon. I'd like very much for you to be that fatso.
Well, don't embarrass yourself like that. The man asks Homer if he wants to go with them on tour.
I don't think I have a choice, Marge.
Of course you have a choice.
How do you figure?
For starters, you don't have to join the freak show. The gig takes off and Homer's touring with the freaks, getting shot with cannonballs night after night.
I finally tapped into that spirit of self-destruction that makes rock and roll the king of music.
He's living the rock star life. Well, the part where you groan in pain and pop aspirin like candy. Homer's loving the attention, but the toll starts showing. Bruises, limping, and a stomach that's starting to resemble a punching bag. He brushes it off, determined to keep up with the cool kids, but the guy who hired him sends him to the vet and sends all his freaks too. The vet tells him that the cannonballs have wrecked his stomach, and he tells him that from now on, no cannonballs.
No spicy foods. And when you lie in a hammock, please rest your beer on your head or your genitals.
Okay, good to know. Homer says that he's a rock star and he doesn't care for rules, but the vet assures him of the seriousness. He tells Homer that if he takes one more cannonball to the gut, he will die.
Well, you don't scare me, Doc, 'cause dying would be a stone groove.
Homer, I think you should listen to the man. The next show is supposed to be in Springfield, and Homer won't disappoint his town or his family. Especially not after he saw how proud of him Bart was.
What's with all the questions?
Just some report I gotta do for school.
Now he really can't disappoint him. Homer's stomach doesn't stop making that awful sound, and he's getting worried, but he's determined to push through the pain.
The man who embodies everything about rock and roll except the music.
Finally, a career where Homer's ability to absorb pain is a resume highlight. But unfortunately, his ability to absorb pain is wearing off, and he doesn't know what to do. He steps on stage and is waiting for the cannonball to be fired at him.
Okay, Homer, don't fear the Reaper. Oh, I'm gonna die.
Here's a thought. Just get off stage. They fire up the cannon, but as the ball was about to hit him, he jumped aside.
Oh, Marge, I thought I had an appetite for destruction, but all I wanted was a club sandwich.
Oh, poor homie. Maybe next time he'll think some more before agreeing to be hit with cannonballs.
I'll miss you, Pumpkins, but I just can't share your bleak worldview. I've got too much to live for.
Well, duh. A family of 5 didn't cross your mind before?
So, I realized that being with my family is more important than being cool.
Homer's back to square one, but at least his stomach's still in one piece. Mostly. But it didn't stay like that for long, because Homer enrolls in Krusty's Clown College and he starts working as a clown. Homie the Clown starts with Krusty drowning in debt, so he opens a clown college to cash in, and Homer, mesmerized by a billboard ad, starts thinking about it.
That advertisement had no effect on me whatsoever.
You sure about that, Homer? Lenny comes over to tell Homer that the section he's supposed to be monitoring is on fire.
Clowns are funny.
Yes, Homer, yes they are. Homer came home, and as he was having dinner with his family, he couldn't stop seeing them as clowns.
I'm going to clown college!
I don't think any of us expected him to say that.
So, regular college is for losers, but clown college is right up his alley. Homer enrolls at Krusty's Clown College, trading his power plant job for a squirting flower. Though his early attempts at clowning don't really scream natural talent.
Okay, we'll start off with the baggy... what? Those are supposed to be baggy pants! Baggy!
As far as Homer is concerned, he's never had a better pair in his life. Homer also can't pull off one of Krusty's best tricks.
Steady, steady.
With his figure, he'll never pull it off. He sticks with it, graduates, and starts gigging. But his uncanny resemblance to Krusty has everyone from kids to cops doing double takes.
There's your giraffe, little girl.
I'm a boy.
That's the spirit. never give up.
But the clown job isn't as easy as Homer thought.
I thought it would be nothing but glory. You know, the glory of being a clown.
If that job is glorious, what's your current job?
But when I see the smiles on their little faces, I just know they're getting ready to jab me with something.
Damn, Homer. That's dark. But there are still some perks to being a clown and looking like a crusty doppelganger. Chief Wiggum waves off a speeding ticket. Homer is surprised to know that he gets a 5% off everything in the store.
Just because I look like, just because I am Krusty the Clown?
Well, at least try not to look so surprised. But then Fat Tony and his posse show up and demand Krusty pay up or else.
Go ahead and kill me. Oh, hey, all right, okay, already.
He's all talk. Fat Tony says they'll be taking him for a ride, but Krusty sneaks out and runs. They search for him, but they find Homer instead.
What you diddly doing, neighbor?
I'm putting speed holes in my car.
But then someone shoots and Flanders falls down.
Wow, lucky I always keep a Bible close to my heart.
Then someone fires again.
Lucky I was wearing an extra large piece of the true cross today.
Neddy, I think you should steer clear from Homer.
What keeps doing that?
I told you we should have bought more than 3 bullets. Let's just grab them.
Tony, you cheapskate. Tony and his posse abduct Homer and he keeps trying to explain to them that he isn't actually Krusty.
I'm Homer Simpson!
The same Homer Simpson who crashed his car through the wall of our club?
Maybe he should get a new identity. Homer was brought to Fat Tony's club where they demanded he pay up. But he didn't have the money, so they told him if he does the tiny bike trick, they'll let him go. Krusty bursts in just in time.
You came here to save me!
Yeah.
Krusty endangers Homer once again by switching them up so the mob can't tell them apart, but Homer blows it.
Good one, Krusty!
Oh, crap.
They demand that Krusty and Homer do the trick together now, or they'll kill them both. Homer and Krusty team up for survival, and they make it by dumb luck, and the mob, mildly amused, decides not to whack them. Yet.
So we're even now, huh?
No, we just won't kill you.
Krusty sighs and gives him the $48 he owes them.
Here's 50.
And to your change, and we thank you.
Well, at least Homer's not sleeping with the fishes. But there's one thing I never thought I'd see Homer do, and that is dabble in arts. Homer botches a DIY barbecue pit project. But when the mess gets mistaken for avant-garde art, he lands a gig as an outsider artist. Bomb and Pop Art opens with Homer failing at his attempt to assemble a barbecue. So he tries to return it to the store, but they won't take whatever that is. He then tries to dump it, but Chief Wiggum won't allow him to do so.
I'll never get rid of it. It'll follow me to the end of the earth.
You mean your failure? But then, luckily for him, his bumper falls off. But what's lucky for Homer, 10 out of 10 times, means it's unlucky for someone else.
Not my fault. Act of God, act of God.
Damn, he didn't even stop to see if the person's okay. The next day, a lady came by to tell him that his thing hit her car. But she's not there to sue him. She owns an art gallery, and she says she'd love to display his piece.
This isn't art, just a barbecue that pushed me over the edge. Didn't you? Didn't you?
And now he's talking to the barbecue. Good. The lady tells him that art isn't just pretty pictures. Rather,
it's an expression of raw human emotion. In your case, rage.
Oh, I got that, lady.
And a lot of it, apparently. So Homer displays his art at a gallery, and what do you know? Mr. Burns buys it.
Congratulations, Homer. You're now a professional artist.
Turns out Homer's temper tantrums are worth more than his day job at the plant. Homer is taken with this new revelation and he decides to become an outsider artist. Marge is skeptical about it, and she asks Homer if he could consider that maybe his sculpture was a fluke. He said he's always been interested in art, dating back to
my schoolgirl days when I painted portrait after portrait of Ringo Starr.
That's my life you're describing.
Okay, Marge, slow down a bit. Since the key to Homer's heart is his anger, he needs something to enrage him so he could create art. And what better to do that than his kids?
Well, I'm flunking math, and the other day I was a little attracted to Milhouse.
Yeah, that should get him going. After his first show was a success, the gallery decided to hold a show devoted to him entirely.
Whoa! It's like Marge's dream come true for me.
And you don't see anything wrong with that. But Homer's show doesn't go well at all.
What's going on here? You weirdos love this stuff.
Maybe you shouldn't call them weirdos. They explain that his work has gone from hip and new to old and boring, and it isn't shocking at all.
Come back! I'm a god to you! Worship me! Or fear my wrath! Oh, please fear my wrath!
That's just pathetic. Marge walks Homer through the gallery and she shows him the works of great artists throughout history.
These guys are geniuses. I could never think of something like soup or a pencil.
When he came home, Lisa told him that maybe he should try something radical, like an outdoor project.
Lisa, that's it! I've got an idea for a wonderful art project that'll make everyone love me again.
And here we go again. First, he and Bart stole all the doormats in town, then they went to the zoo and put snorkels on the animals.
You're sure this is art, not vandalism?
That's for the courts to decide, son.
Good thinking. Morning came and Homer announced to everyone in Springfield that they're witnessing his latest work.
Homer, what have you done?
It's conceptual art. The Grand Canals of Springfield.
Honestly, bold move. Didn't expect that.
I have to admit, you created something people really love. You truly are an artist.
From an artist to a critic. Is there anything Homer hasn't done? Homer lands a gig as a food critic for the Springfield Shopper, turning his love for eating into a job. Guess who's coming to criticize dinner? Starts when Lisa's school paper needs a chaperone for a trip to the newspaper, and Homer tags along, only to stumble into the critic role after the old one quits.
We're looking for a new food critic, someone who doesn't immediately poo-poo everything he eats.
Homer replies that it usually takes a few hours. Well, how do I politely put this? Duh. The guy asks Homer to write a 500-word sample review, and if he passes, they'll hire him.
This is a joke, right? I mean, this is the stupidest thing I've ever read.
Yeah, well, if you knew Homer, it would probably be the best thing he's ever written.
And at the end, you repeat the words, "Screw Flanders," over and over again.
Damn, he's that bad? Homer tells the editor that the review is actually a joke, and he goes home and Lisa helps him write a new one.
What's the English equivalent for I'd say transcendent.
Actually, that's the perfect way to describe it. Lisa keeps editing his ramblings into something readable, but the other critics mock him for being too nice, pushing him to sharpen his tongue. They tell him that the only bad review he gave
was to a slice of pizza you found under the couch.
It lost some points because it had a Hot Wheel on it.
Okay, I get where they're coming from. The next time Homer went to a restaurant, he decided to give the food a bad review.
Dad, that's so mean.
The other critics told me to be mean, and you should always give in to peer pressure.
That's really bad advice. Homer really started giving out bad reviews like that was the only option he had.
you good! Stamenge! Well, I hope you cut me better than you did these string beans.
Homer's gone from everything's delicious to everything's a crime scene overnight. He even rated Marge's pork chops lower.
People change, Marge. My palate has grown more sophisticated.
Oh, yeah? What's a palate?
Like he could ever get past Marge. Lisa told him he was being cruel for no reason and she won't help him anymore. The next week, a food festival was supposed to come to Springfield and Homer was going to be criticizing the food, so all the restaurant owners gathered and decided they need to take him down.
This eclair is over 1 million calories, 25 pounds of butter per square inch.
So they're gonna kill him with pastry. Good. Symbolic. The festival rolls around and the restaurant owners prepare the killer eclair.
The giant eclair will knock Homer off the food page and into the obituaries.
Don't mind Homer dying. Have a good laugh first. Bart tells Marge and Lisa about this and Marge isn't even surprised. Marge says that only Homer could take a part-time job at a small-town paper.
And wind up the target of international assassins.
Well, that's Homer for you. They split up to find him and Lisa sees him coming up to the eclair stand.
It's gonna kill you!
I've had a good run.
Well, when you've been hearing that food will kill you basically every day of your life, you kind of just tune it out.
It's low fat!
No!
God forbid he eats something low fat.
Dad?
I know, honey. The important thing is... Run!
It's weird how he almost got killed while being a food critic, but nothing even fazed him while he was working for a criminal. Homer scores a dream job at Globex Corporation, prompting the Simpsons to uproot from Springfield to the utopian Cypress Creek. Though his new boss's supervillain vibes soon complicate things. It all starts when a mysterious offer lands on his doorstep, promising better pay and a fresh start. And Homer's too dazzled by the perks to notice the red flags.
You took a new job in a strange town without discussing it with your family?
Why not?
Well, for starters,
Bart's lawyer is here.
And you know Bart, he's gonna need him. Homer shows them a video of Cypress Creek, a town where everything seems perfect. Marge agrees that they should move. They get to Cypress Creek and indeed everything is perfect. Too perfect. The house basically cleans itself and Marge has nothing to do while Homer's at work.
I've done all my housework and it's only 9:30. Well, Better go upstairs and make sure the beds are still made.
Homer drives to his job, which seems to involve telling people to work harder. The pay is great, and Homer's blissfully unaware that Scorpio's plotting world domination on the side.
Could you, work any harder than this?
Sure thing, boss.
I see Homer likes being the man in charge for a change. But Homer isn't the only one who thinks he's doing a good job. His boss thinks so too. Mr. Scorpio says productivity is up 2%.
And it's all because of my motivational techniques, like donuts and the possibility of more donuts.
Homer sees that his team is starting to get tired, so he goes to Hank to ask him if he could get some business hammocks. As Hank was telling him where he could get hammocks, he had to step aside for a sec to do a business call.
I have the doomsday device. You have 72 hours to deliver the gold, or you face the consequences.
Is Homer just not going to react to all of this? No, I guess not, because they went straight back to the hammocks talk. The next day, Homer was looking for sugar, and he went into a room he's never been in before.
By the way, Homer, what's your least favorite country? Italy or France?
France.
Nobody ever says Italy.
Is he gonna nuke France? Homer was hanging out at Hank's office when Hank's enemy tried to escape, and Homer tackled him.
Nice work, Homer! Am I proud of you?
Well, what is that man doing? Homer was telling his family about an amazing day he had at work, but they were all down. Lisa said she's allergic to everything in this town and she can't breathe. Marge is slowly becoming an alcoholic, and Bart is held back in class.
We want to go back to Springfield.
You've got to be kidding me. Homer said he's finally good at his job and he's really enjoying himself. And Marge tells him that it's his decision. Homer goes to talk to Hank, who's apparently in the middle of a battlefield.
I'm having a little trouble with the government.
Oh, those jerks always walking over to small businessman.
Homer, I don't think Hank's a small businessman. Homer explains to Hank his situation, and he tells Homer he can't argue with the little things.
It's the little things that make up life,
says Hank while throwing a grenade. Okay?
Homer, I'm disappointed, but I think you need to do what's best for your family.
He might be a war criminal, but he seems like a good man. Homer thanks Hank for everything, and he tells him,
Homer, on your way out, if you want to kill somebody, it would help me a lot.
Well, he did kick that grenade. Does that count? The family comes back to Springfield, and what do you know? I guess he is a war criminal. There's really no saying what Homer's gonna do next in his hunt for success. Homer tries to make money by selling grease. Lord of the Dance opens with Homer going to the Quickie Mart and he realizes that his hot dog tastes different. He asks Apu about it and he tells him that it hasn't been soaking in grease.
I sold it all to the rendering plant.
People buy grease?
Honestly, I didn't know about it either. Apu says that people use it for all sorts of stuff and Homer connects the dots.
Used grease is worth money? Then my arteries are clogged with yellow gold!
Well, maybe not that grease. Homer starts collecting leftover grease from bacon, but that will only get him so far. Marge scolded him for using her bacon, but he told her that he's busy achieving financial independence.
With cans of grease?
No, through savings and wise investments. Of course with grease.
That's really concerning. Homer won't let Bart go to school because...
You're in the grease business now.
Don't mind education, who needs that? Homer and Bart go to sell grease, but it only makes them 63 cents.
Dad, all that bacon cost $27.
Yeah, but your mom paid for that.
And where does Marge get her money from, Homer? But in order to earn more, they need to expand their business. So Bart came up with the idea to get it from Krusty Burger.
There must be $20 worth of grease on his forehead alone.
I was thinking more of the deep fryer.
Homer, sometimes you just disgust me. Homer starts pumping the grease into his car.
Mom's gonna kill you.
If she didn't want her car ruined, she should have done a better job hiding her keys.
But then the grease just disappeared. And it turns out that some guys pumped it out of Homer's car.
We run the grease racket in this town.
I guess the grease business is oversaturated. Homer feels down and he tells Marge that there's just no point because he's been muscled out of everything he's ever done. Marge asks him if he could try some other crazy business idea, like...
You could raise some emus.
Emus? Really?
Why does that shock him, but the grease business doesn't? But then Bart comes in with the final big score. But before they run off...
Dear Lord, I know you're busy, seeing as how you can watch women changing clothes and all that.
Excuse me?
I promise we'll donate half the profits to charity.
Dad, he's not stupid.
All right, screw it. Let's roll.
And at least he's honest with himself. They roll up to the school and Bart says that the grease traps in the kitchen have never been emptied. But they run into Willie and he starts chasing them through the vents.
Not so fast, boyo. Hell, if it was up to me, I'd let you go. But the lads have a temper.
Damn, Willie is a really violent person. But while Willie was punching and choking Homer, no one noticed something.
The hose!
Bart, please. The groundskeeper and I are trying to settle this like adults.
The hose bursts and the grease spreads in the school where the kids were having a dance.
That's my grease. It's mine. Give it here.
Oh, Homer, just give up. But from trying to catch grease to starting his own security company, Homer has come a long way. Homer becomes the new head of Springfield's police. Papa's got a brand new badge, opens with Springfield facing a big heat wave, and the power is running out. Instead of conserving energy, Homer plugged in a Santa Claus toy and he made the whole town lose power.
Oh, every time Santa and I get together, it's a disaster.
What does that tell you, Homer? The people start looting and rioting and Chief Wiggum can't stop them. Marge says she doesn't feel safe in Springfield because they don't have better police. She tells Homer that this is all his fault and he says he won't feel guilty until he can put a human face on this. Lisa comes in crying because someone stole her Malibu Stacy doll.
Marge, doesn't Lisa have a human face?
Yes, and she's crying.
So, Homer, what are you gonna do now? Homer says he's gonna find Lisa's dolls and he starts investigating. He finds a cap on the tree branch and he goes to the store that sells it. And at that moment, Jimbo walks in and says he needs a new cap. Homer shook him and asked him if he stole Lisa's dolls.
I think they demean women.
Well, think again, son. You're going to juvie.
Wow, Homer the vigilante. Homer says that he feels good that he finally followed through on something, and that stopping criminals is fun. Later, he was at the Quickie Mart and he saw Snake Jailbird trying to rob Apu, but there was no police in sight.
Jeez! Oh, that's muy picante!
Later, Homer was talking to Marge and he told her that he's had a lot of jobs, but protecting Springfield gave him the best feeling. Marge told him that if he liked it so much, he could make that his job, like starting a security company.
Finally, a way to combine my love of helping people with my love of hurting people.
This is gonna end horribly. Lenny and Carl join him and soon people start really respecting him for what he's doing. Marge told Bart and Lisa that they could hold their heads up high now.
I didn't know my chin went that far up. Oh, yeah, that's the pride.
That's so nice to see, but at the same time, so sad. The mayor takes away Chief Wiggum's badge and he turns over the town's police duties to Homer and his Spring Shield. But Homer made a powerful enemy. He arrested Fat Tony and his crew and Springfield officially became free of crime. But Fat Tony won't go down without a fight.
My associates and I will gun down Homer Simpson if he has not left town by noon tomorrow.
That's quite a threat. At the next town meeting, Homer explained his situation, and he asked the people of Springfield to stand by him. The only person who said he'd fight with him was Ned Flanders. Homer can't believe that after everything he's done for them, no one will stand by him. Marge told him that he should just leave town, but Homer won't do it. Fat Tony came by and he demanded to see Homer. Marge asked him how he could do this, perpetuating a negative Italian-American stereotype.
You could be a pizza man, organ grinder, leaning tower maker.
And those aren't stereotypes?
You are listing my broken dreams.
He's a sad, sad man. Homer steps out and tells Fat Tony that he could kill him, but then someone else will take his place, and so on.
All right, let's do it.
Dibs on the crotch.
But then someone starts shooting and shoots Fat Tony's people in the arm. When all of them were down, Homer said he doesn't want the badge anymore and he gave it to Chief Wiggum. But the chief said he wasn't the one who shot at Fat Tony's people.
I must have a guardian angel with a rifle.
Oh, yes you do.
Time to check in on our little sweetie pie.
Oh, she's taking a nap.
Well, Maggie also has a job in the house, making sure everyone is safe. At least her job isn't so demeaning. Homer becomes a personal assistant for Hollywood superstars. When You Dish Upon a Star opens with the family going on a lake trip, and Homer goes parasailing. But since he wanted to go higher and higher, the boat motor caught on fire and the rope broke. He flew a bit until he fell through the roof into someone's house.
Sorry, lady. I know you! You're Kim Basinger!
It's Basinger.
Only Homer could fall right into the bed of a movie star.
You think you could slide over a little?
Well, I am a married man.
You're crushing my husband.
Oh, that must have hurt.
Billy Baldwin!
I'm Alec Baldwin. Could you get off me?
Yeah, that should have been the first thing Homer did. Homer asked them what are two big Hollywood stars doing in Springfield, and they said that they needed to get away from Hollywood and LA. They really like Springfield because they have a lot of privacy here.
Most people don't even know where Springfield is.
Yeah, tell you the truth, I'm not even sure.
And we'll never know. They tell Homer that they don't even go shopping, or leave the house for that matter. Homer suggests that he could do their shopping and a lot of things for them.
Well, we are down to our last roll of toilet paper.
And I have been brushing my teeth with hair gel for a week.
That's disgusting, but they make sure that Homer understands that they don't want anyone knowing that they're in Springfield. Homer promises that he will keep their secret. He leaves the house and finds his family, and they ask him where he landed.
We're famous.
Where'd you get that muffin?
So many questions, yet no answers. One day, while Homer was hanging out with the stars, someone rang the doorbell.
Ron Howard?
Yeah, I'm looking for Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger.
Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger?
He's still in disbelief.
What's with him?
Oh, that's just Homer. He's a new friend of ours.
Really? You giant stars consider me a friend?
Homer's dreams have become true. But unfortunately for Homer, that friendship was about to end. Bo was talking about how he saw Kent Brockman the other day, and everyone was going crazy about it because Kent is a big shot in Springfield.
Please.
Oh, what? I suppose you've seen a bigger star.
I might have.
He's about to risk a legitimate friendship over what? A few seconds of fame in front of his other friends? Homer starts thinking about it and he tells everyone, but he tells them they must keep it a secret.
But you got to keep it much more secret than I did.
He couldn't have just lied and said he saw someone else. The next day when he was hanging out with his movie star friends, they saw a mob of people coming towards the house. They run inside and immediately realize that Homer was the one who talked.
But you don't know what it's like to be a nobody. I just wanted to bask in your reflected glory.
Yeah, and he doesn't know what it's like to have zero privacy. They tell him they can't be friends anymore, and Homer leaves. Homer was pouting all day, and Lisa reminded him that the celebrities canned him, and then he realized.
Those big shot stars used me up and spit me out.
Well, you were more like an employee than a real friend. Homer then realized he still has his car full of their stuff, so he decides to earn some money from it. He drives in front of their house where the fans were still camping, trying to get a glimpse of the celebrities.
Only $5. No, wait, $10. You heard right, $20.
Homer, the businessman that you are. Meanwhile, the stars were packing up and they saw pictures with Homer and thought they should forgive him. But then they went outside.
I'm too important to take Homer to the Oscars.
What the?
Gotta go.
He really didn't need that. But Homer has come a long way from being someone's assistant. After losing his job, Homer decides to become a paramedic. And Marge tries to write her first novel. Diatribe of a Mad Housewife opens with Homer losing his job at the power plant. Again. And he decides to start working as a paramedic.
Guess what? I quit my job as a used car salesman.
You work at the nuclear plant.
Get with the program.
Maybe you should get with the program of keeping a job. Homer starts working as a paramedic and he isn't really that good at it. I mean, besides the fact that he doesn't have any training.
Where to, Mac?
For the third time, the hospital.
Where else?
Hospital, eh? Wow, everyone's going there tonight.
He should have just gotten a taxi. Lisa tells Homer that he's been driving in circles for 20 minutes.
Why don't you just admit you don't know where the hospital is?
Why don't you admit I know it's around here somewhere?
Yes, and how's the patient doing all this time? Meanwhile, Marge is writing her first novel and she's very excited to tell Homer about it. But when he comes home and has no interest in hearing what her day was like, he only wants dinner.
And the kids need some CPR lessons.
We're not paramedics.
I'll say.
And why are the kids the ones performing CPR? This makes Marge completely change her novel, and the character becomes based on Homer, and not as good characteristics. She finishes the novel, but she won't publish it until Homer reads it first.
Oh, 286 pages.
It's double-spaced.
Woohoo, I'm halfway through.
That's some math right there. Homer tries to read Marge's book, but he keeps falling asleep, and by the end of the day, he doesn't read it. But that didn't stop him from lying to Marge and telling her that he did read it.
Did you like it?
I did?
If only she saw his face. Marge asked him if the characters bothered him at all, and he said they didn't. He wouldn't be saying that if he knew Marge's character was lusting over Ned Flanders.
Now for that happy period between the lie and the time it's found out.
But the lie came out sooner than Homer thought. Marge's book was all the rave, but not for the right reasons. Everyone saw through her characters, and Homer realized that and actually read the book.
How can you write such horrible things about me?
You told me you liked it. You didn't read it at all.
And the jig is up. Homer asked Marge if the thing she wrote about her in Flanders was true, and she said it was only her imagination.
Well, I'll make sure you never imagine anything again!
That doesn't sound good. Homer runs to Flanders, banging on his door, and Flanders gets in his car and escapes.
Flanders, pull over! I'm an ambulance!
Well, he's got me there.
He pulls over and runs out of the car and onto a cliff, and Homer follows him.
Dear Lord, please make Homer's blows precise and deadly with the minimum of pain.
Flanders also asks forgiveness for his impure thoughts. Flanders, you dog. Homer tells Ned that he's going to do something he should have done a long time ago.
Would you help me be a better husband?
Huh?
I didn't expect that. Homer said that in Marge's book, Ned was so nice, and he was so mean.
How can I be more like you? Just give me some advice.
Advice?
Ned is too stunned to speak. Marge got to them and she was afraid Homer was going to push Ned, but when she got closer, she heard they were talking.
The end of your book was the wake-up call I needed after falling asleep at the beginning of your book.
All's well that ends well, except that paramedic job, sheesh. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and let me know what your favorite side hustle was. Here are 10 times we remember Homer and Marge are still in love. Homer leaves Marge because he found out she's secretly been resenting him for years. 3 Gays of the Condo starts with Homer finding a note Marge wrote 10 years ago about how he ruined her night, and if she knew he was such an alcoholic, she never would have started dating him.
Why did she stay with me if she hated me so much?
Wait for it, wait for it.
She was pregnant with Bart, and that's the reason she stayed with me.
Damn, that must be awful to know. Marge walked into the room and Homer confronted her about it, and she told him that it was a long time ago and she doesn't feel that way anymore. But she tells him that he still does a lot of things that drive her crazy.
So you mean our whole marriage you've just been resenting me behind my back?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, every marriage has its problems. Homer decides to pack up and leave for a while, which makes Bart and Lisa panicky.
Kids, sometimes when a daddy learns that a mommy always hated him, he needs some time away to think.
Why do you let your kids in on your business? They don't need to know that. Homer sees an ad looking for a roommate and he goes to check it out. The apartment is in a nice gay neighborhood, which he doesn't get, of course.
Are you trying to tell me that you guys are those guys that like guys?
That's right, Homer. We're gay.
Come on, Homer. These aren't the first gays you've ever met. Homer decides to live with them nonetheless, but things with him and Marge aren't getting any better. Lisa tells Marge that she knows Homer loves her, but he is really hurt, and she should just apologize.
Marriage is a beautiful thing, but it's also a constant battle for moral superiority.
And that's why you can't apologize? Bart tells Marge that she should just say she's sorry, even if she doesn't mean it, so this makes her think. The next day, Marge showed up in front of Homer's apartment with a performer who sang a song for him.
It would take a man of stone with a funny bone of steel to resist that.
Aw, that's very sweet. Homer and Marge decide to go on a date and smooth things over, but before he was supposed to leave, he got drunk with the gays and was running late.
Congratulations to Marge and Homer Simpson on their reconciliation dinner.
She couldn't be more embarrassed. Homer showed up and apologized for being late, but he was visibly drunk out of his mind.
I tried to save our marriage, and you just get drunk and spend the whole night with your homosexual boyfriends.
And she said that in front of everyone. Homer went to Moe's, and as he was telling Moe that all his problems in life stem from alcohol.
Yeah. Take your medicine, yeah, lush, yeah.
I think Moe and Milhouse should hang out, because they're running close in their battle for worst friend ever. Moe took Homer to the hospital because he got alcohol poisoning from how much he drank, and Dr. Hibbert pumped his stomach.
But it's still not as bad as the first time I treated you.
Oh yeah, the night that destroyed my marriage.
Dr. Hibbert seemed confused because he'd never seen a woman so devoted to her man, so he showed him a tape he had.
Whatever problems we have a lifetime to work them out. Together.
See, she didn't hate him. Marge came into the room as Homer was saying that she married him because she loved him and not because she was pregnant.
Marge, I never want to be apart from you again.
Well, you'll never have to.
But maybe that closeness made them feel oversaturated. Homer and Marge hit a dry spot in their marriage, so they try to revive it. Natural Born Kissers opens with Marge and Homer on their anniversary night, but they just can't seem to get it on.
Did you want me to?
Oh, no, I'm the guy. I'm supposed to,
No, I have my part in this too.
Wow, that's awkward. The next day, Homer and Marge had to go and get a part for the fridge because it broke down, and as they were driving and contemplating their marriage, they heard an ad on the radio.
Remember the last time you felt the thrill of romance? Well, maybe you need a divorce.
What kind of ad is this? They get stuck in mud, so they get out of the car to find some help, but it starts raining. They run to a barn to hide from the rain.
Safe at last.
Shh, we're trespassing. Some of these farmers have pitchforks.
I think pitchforks should be the least of your problems. A farmer barges in because he saw the barn door open, but as he didn't see anyone, he left.
That was close.
Very close.
Oh, so being exposed is what does the trick. Marge and Homer think that the problem is their mundane life, so they book a room at a bed and breakfast.
Should we get started?
No time like the present.
So what's stopping you? They start thinking of things wrong with the room to try and avoid talking about the real problem, but then a lady walks in on them.
You know, the fear of getting caught is kind of a turn-on.
If their sex life is like this now, I don't want to imagine what they were doing in the beginning. Perverts. Homer says he has a disgusting idea, and they go out.
Shh! They'll hear us.
They didn't hear us in the sewing room.
Homer! It really is a disgusting idea. When they came back home, they were all over each other, and Bart and Lisa told them that they were sick.
You don't think there's anything wrong with what we're doing, do you?
Homer says that he thinks he's never done anything wrong. Homer, that might be a problem. They decide to revisit a place at a mini-golf course they used to make out at, but the crucial difference is that they visited it during the day, while children were playing. The Flanderses were playing, and their ball didn't come out, so...
Rod, you got small girlish hands. Reach in and fish it out.
A hand?
No, Rod, don't do it. People start gathering and trying to fish out the ball, but they keep squishing Homer. And I just find this highly disturbing.
Why are people always trying to kill me?
We have to get out of here.
They tip the windmill over and run out butt naked.
People soiled our green.
And now they're out there somewhere, naked as the day God made them.
Well then, maybe you shouldn't have a problem with that. The police start looking for Homer and Marge, who got into a hot air balloon in order to escape.
Maybe we should give ourselves up.
But think of the scandal.
So a better solution is to fly in a hot air balloon so more people could see. Homer falls out, but he holds onto a rope, so Marge is now navigating the balloon herself.
Dear Lord, look at that blimp! He's hanging from a balloon! Can we not land here?
Homer, I think everybody has already seen your business. The whole stadium looks at them and starts taking pictures. They end up in the newspaper, and they now have to explain this to Bart and Lisa. Marge starts trying to explain to them how they got bored of their regular life, so they had to explore new ways, scary ways.
People staring at our naked bodies.
All those eyes, just leering.
Are they getting in the mood?
Who's in the mood for miniature golf?
Ooh, I am.
Not again. Have you learned nothing?
Huh. They're gonna feel so silly when they realize they forgot us.
No, Bart, I think you're gonna feel silly when you realize they didn't. And this wasn't the last time they left the kids behind in order to have some fun. Homer and Marge decide to take a secret vacation to get away from their kids for a while. Catch 'em If You Can starts with Marge and Homer at an airport talking about how they can't do anything alone, because kids are always there to stop them and ruin their fun. They were supposed to go to a relative's birthday party in Ohio, but when they saw the young married couples boarding the plane to Miami, they decided to change their plane tickets and go there instead, without telling anyone. But they didn't know that Ohio had been struck by a tornado, which Bart and Lisa saw on TV.
I'm an orphan.
I'm a legal guardian.
Honestly, I'm more worried about Grandpa. Marge calls Lisa to check in, and Lisa asks them if they're okay.
So, how's the weather in Dayton?
Oh, you know, typical boring Dayton weather.
They're busted. Lisa tells Bart that something's fishy, and they're not in Ohio, so Bart calls the number Marge called from, and they find out the two of them are in Miami.
Here's to life without children.
Well, we can't wait to have kids.
Yeah, you won't be saying that in a couple years. The guy says that with all new equipment, having children is really easy work.
You keep thinking that.
Bart and Lisa go to Miami, and they start looking for Homer and Marge.
A romantic holiday just became a stinking family vacation.
Marge, I won't let that happen.
Well, you wanted them, didn't you? I mean, at least some of them. Homer tells Marge that if they don't take this chance now, they'll be alone when Lisa goes to college.
I've got a card that can take us anywhere in the world.
How did he get that? Bart and Lisa see Homer and Marge getting into a cab and speeding off, but they won't let them get off that easy.
We're gonna follow them across this great land, making sure they don't have one moment of fun.
Bart says he has a card that will take them anywhere they want to go. Why does Rod have a card? They find out that Homer and Marge went to Atlantic City, so they follow them there, and they chase them around the country, Catch Me If You Can style. Finally, Homer and Marge get some alone time when Bart and Lisa jump out of the food cart.
We lied so we could spend a single night as a married couple without worrying about you kids.
They have given up. Marge tells them they've won, so tomorrow they'll be going back to Springfield.
All I wanted was a second honeymoon. And now the floor is made of lava.
They seem so defeated. Later, Bart and Lisa were talking, and they realized that maybe they should have given Homer and Marge a break. They decide to spend the day at an amusement park so Homer and Marge could have some alone time, but they didn't know that.
I knew if we got up early enough, we could sneak away from Bart and Lisa. Kids don't beat me, I beat kids.
Use a better phrasing next time, please. They see Bart and Lisa behind them at the Ferris wheel, and they start running away before the kids could explain the situation. They hide in an out-of-order bouncing castle, which bounced off of a cliff when they got in.
So why do they call this place Niagara Falls anyway?
What do you think, Homer? Homer just accepts their inevitable death and says,
Marge, I guess we'll just have to make love in heaven. I bet it always works up there.
Marge tells Homer to shut up and kiss her. Are they really gonna do it while falling down a waterfall?
Is anyone alive?
More alive than any of you squares?
Yes, they are. I guess it turned out good that the kids followed them. But Homer and Marge just can't catch a break. Homer's Vegas wife shows up and ruins Homer and Marge's marriage. Brawl in the Family opens with the family coming home from a trip where they learned how to put aside their old behavioral patterns and work together as a family. But as they were pulling into the driveway, 2 women were waiting for them, and one of them said she was looking for Homer.
Oh, it's the woman I married in Vegas.
And she's come back to haunt you. Homer explained the situation to Marge and showed her the tape of the wedding.
Give it to me, baby.
Homer!
It's okay, we're married!
Wrong bride, Homer. Homer said he married her, but then abandoned her, which somehow makes it better.
Amber, tell her how I abandoned you!
This is the worst thing you've ever done.
Amongst others. Marge tells Homer she doesn't know if she can ever forgive him, but Homer says he's gonna make this right.
I'm gonna come back with the greatest gift a husband can give his wife. An annulment from his secret wife.
Yes, that's the greatest gift. The judge told Homer that under Nevada law, bigamy is perfectly legal, so both marriages stand.
But I only love Marge!
I hereby order you to take care of both of your wives. Ring him!
Those are more like handcuffs. Marge kicks him out, so Homer is forced to sleep in the treehouse. Amber climbs up and she says she'll comfort him by making him a snack.
Oh, you do that like a pro!
Oh no. She's making him a sandwich.
Thank God Marge knows him so well, otherwise that could have meant something entirely different. Bart and Lisa ask Amber how long is she planning on staying here, and she says she's not going anywhere. Lisa asks her how does it not bother her that she's ruining their family, and Amber says,
I could show you how to put on makeup.
I'm 8 years old.
You could look 7.
Yeah, I bet she'd be a great mom. The next night, Homer slept on the lawn, and when he woke up, Marge was there, and she said she wanted to talk.
Talk about what? Sports? Bigamy?
Bigamy.
Not a sports fan, huh?